down, baby, and let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. Two old maids were laying in the bed. One turned over to the other and said, wake up, old maid, don't be so damn sound. You know what you promised when you first laid down. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. Two little girls were playing in the sand. One told the other one, said she was a man. She said, no, child, I ain't no man. But keep still, babe, I do the best I can. Do down, baby, let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. What did the rooster say to the duck? He said, you ain't so good looking, but you sure know how to strut. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. What did the frog tell the eel? The more you wiggle, child, the better it feels. Do that, baby. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. I had a girl, she was all big and fat, but you know her stoop down wasn't no bigger than that. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. Come on, baby, don't you be so mean. Look up on the shelf and get the Vaseline. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. 1 and 1 is 2, 6 and 3 and 9. You give me some of yours and I'll give you some of mine. Still down, baby. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. The monkey and the baboon was playing in the grass. The monkey stuck his finger in the baboon's ice cream. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. 1 and 1 is 2, 3 and 3 is 6. I ain't so good looking, but I got a long time to live out there. Let your daddy see. You got something down there, baby, where the hell ought to be. Yeah, stoop down, baby. I said, stoop down, baby. Yes, I want you to stoop down, baby. I just want you to stoop down. Let me tell you, stoop down, baby. I just got to see one time now.
Monkey and the baboon was playing in the grass. Monkey stuck his finger in the baboon's ice cream. Stoop down, baby. Monkey and the baboon was. What's up, everybody? Welcome. I had to run that one. That was the R&B bass special. That one is dedicated to R&B bass, so I played that for her. I hope you're listening, babe. Stoop down, baby. That's that jam. Yeah, William, I'm actually about to do that. I was running the music off this phone, so I couldn't really do anything else. But yeah, I am going to pin the links. I have not forgotten, sir. I have not forgotten. So let's get those links pinned now. Welcome to another Flat Earth Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, I take a different approach to the flat Earth thing because everybody's heard the arguments already. And well, the globe earthers they seem to have this idea that the entities selling them the idea that Earth is a globe are actually telling the truth and we're the ones lying. So I decided to take the approach on Flat Earth Wednesdays, not all Flat Earth Wednesdays, but most Flat Earth Wednesdays, to share with you guys the methods by which the establishment continues to push this lie, hence tonight's topic. If Flat Earth is true, why do so many still believe in the globe? Here's why. And that's what I'm going to share with you tonight is why. Now, what's up, William? What's up, everybody in the chat? Appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And the globe, well, we know the globe is true. It's obviously true. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, not the globe. I'm sorry. Flat Earth. I'm tripping. We know Flat Earth is true. It's absolutely true. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or buts about it. But the globe believers, well, some of them, they'll actually argue you down, you know? And that's because when they hear the term Flat Earth, they think about images like I'm showing here on the thumbnail. There's this flat disc floating in outer space and stuff falling off the edge. And, you know, and even this model itself doesn't make any sense because if it was a flat disc floating in outer space, whatever's coming off the edge of it would be floating away, not falling down. You know, so even in their creation of this psyop to fool people and trick people who decide to, you know, look into the flat Earth, they're so indoctrinated they couldn't even let go of the idea of things floating in space. It's almost like in their minds this idea of space is concrete and solidified, and there's no questioning it. There's no debunking it. It's there, it exists. NASA told us, you know, the astronauts tell us, the satellites tell us, and there's no way around that. So if the Earth is flat, it has to be flat and floating in outer space. And just the mere fact that this was the psyop they decided to cook up should indicate to you just how deeply indoctrinated the globe believers are. They're so indoctrinated it's almost impossible for them to even let go of the idea of space and consider a model of the Earth that does not include outer space. And it's kind of weird because there's no flat Earth model that incorporates space as they have taught us. But you see, we're a special bunch. And I don't mean special as in special class special. I mean special as in our minds are a little stronger and our spirits are a little stronger than RC Master. You got no sound? I mean special as in check your RC Master, check your settings on just click on the Rumble video, and where it says live, there's a little speaker there, and see if that speaker's got lines in front of it. If not, then you're muted right now. Well, of course, if you're muted, you're not going to hear me. Duh. So RC Master says the flat Earth and the globe are both planted by the CIA, FBI. Well, RC Master, I have to disagree with you because both the globe and the flat Earth concepts existed long before the CIA and the FBI. So I don't know how that's even possible. But if that's what you think, let me assure you, my friend, you are absolutely incorrect about that, because both of these concepts outdate the CIA and the FBI by centuries. Now, the flat Earth actually outdates the globe Earth, hence the thumbnail. Flat Earth is an archaic and scientifically disproven concept of the Earth shape as a plane or disk. Many ancient cultures subscribe to flat Earth cosmography, notably whatever, and that's from Wikipedia. And this is the paragraph that they put beneath every flat Earth video with that big ugly blue box that Sanchez always talks about all the time. But well, Lee, that could be true. He probably means the psyop. I hope he can hear me now, but everybody else on Rumble can hear me just fine. Can't you guys? Okay, so if you mean the PSYOP, then yes, absolutely. Now, tonight's topic, let me just, we already went through the topic. So if the flat earth is true, what is it that's keeping so many people, aside from the programming, what is it that's actually reinforcing this programming? Well, as you can see here in the top right image, the PSYOP, that's what's reinforcing the globe belief and turning people away from flat earth. You see, the flat earth is so simple and easy to, it's so simple and easy to decipher that most people haven't even thought about it. It kind of just goes over their heads, and they think that the earth and space and the solar system is oh so complex, but it's really not that. It's really not that complex, because the creator, as the Bible said, God is not the author of confusion. And I believe that, because everything in the flat earth model seems so simplistic, and it just fits together so well, and it actually aligns better with what we see in reality, even down to the non-existence of gravity and density being the reason for things falling, because gravity only explains why things fall, whereas density explains why things fall, float, sink, and fly. So density is the real fact that explains the fact of things falling. Gravity is the theory. It's a theoretical force that they've attributed to things falling. And not only that, but they've also attributed this mythical force of gravity to the entire composition of the solar system. And that in itself, to any free thinker, should seem a bit weird, because, well, we've never been to any of these planets, so how do we know they even have gravity? And if this is so, the sun being the large, and they say gravity is based on the mass of the object and blah, 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 blah. But if that's the case, why hasn't Mercury been absorbed into the sun yet? You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of inconsistencies with the globe model. But again, because there's this priesthood of scientism that we call the scientists and the experts, like the NASAs and the Neil deGrasse Tysons and so on, they keep preaching this stuff and sounding smart, looking important, getting promoted by the mainstream media. And this is what the general public and the masses get exposed to. And whenever there's a person that decides, you know what, let me go investigate what these flat earthers are saying, what happens is they go to Google, they go to YouTube, and they go to other online platforms which are controlled by the same people with the same agenda, and they get railroaded into the PSYOP. And once they realize that this model doesn't really stand up to any real, it doesn't make any sense, and it's so easily debunked, in their minds, they've just debunked flat earth. Earth is a globe, just like I've been taught my whole life, and boom, there you have it. So these PSYOPs are actually getting out of control, because 10 years ago, you could get on YouTube. 10 years ago, you could get on YouTube, type in flat earth, and you'll find real flat earth research. Real flat earthers giving you the real information. Now you get on YouTube and you type in flat earth, and, well, I'll show you what they give you. But they give you a bunch of videos that actually go against flat earth. And these are the videos that get the most views and the most promotion. So it's almost like they've created a firewall between people seeking the truth and the actual truth. And that alone should let you know, if flat earth is so stupid and it's so nonsensical, why hide it? Why go to such lengths to try to hide it? And the only logical answer they can give us that they think makes any sense is they're protecting the public from misinformation. When in the hell when in history have you ever heard of people having to be protected from information? You don't need protection from information. And we damn sure don't need other adults to protect us from any information. We either accept the information or we reject the information. But you see, the reason why they had to come up with the whole concept of protecting people from information is because they're not protecting us from the information like they say they are. What they're actually doing is they're alienating us from the information. They're hiding the information from us to ensure that we don't get exposed to any counter theory that they've any theory that contradicts what they've told us and what they've given us. I mean, we've seen it with the fake news media, with their fake news and their bullshit stories and the lies they tell on TV. People stopped watching TV and started watching YouTube, and YouTube blew up. And then once the mainstream media realized that all the real information was being broadcast on social media, the social media platforms were then basically activated to start the censorship and promote the mainstream media. So now when people would go to social media or for alternative sources of information, they're still getting bombarded with the same mainstream media bullshit. And this is done on purpose to keep you in that mind frame and prevent you from breaking out of it. This is why every religion and belief system always has a defense mechanism where there's labels and ridicule that you can use against people who choose to either, one, question that belief system, or two, simply choose not to agree and reject that belief system. It's a psychological bullying tactic, and we've seen all of that employed in the flat earth debates, right? We've seen the bullying, we've seen the name calling, we've seen the ridicule, we've seen the censorship, we've seen the psyops and the attempts at infiltration. We've seen the fake flat earthers who pretend to be legitimate flat earthers, and they get all the promotion and they get exposed to the public, and then all of a sudden Earth isn't flat anymore and they were wrong. You know, these are the games that they play with us, and the whole purpose of that is to keep you believing, because as long as you keep believing in the globe, guess what? Their climate change narrative now can hold weight in your mind. Their space danger, like asteroids and meteors, can hold weight in your mind. The idea of limited resources now holds weight in your mind because you actually believe that we live on this spinning ball. But the fact of the matter is, we do not live on a spinning ball. Excuse me. And because everything we've been taught about our world has been a lie, now that we've discovered it's been a lie, we have to now go back to the drawing board and re-examine everything that we've been taught and try to decipher this world and figure it out for ourselves. Because, well, if it ain't what they said it is, then, well, what is it, right? That's the big question. Lee 14224 on Rumble says, experts have determined that the globe is safe and effective. Yeah, seems like it, bro. Seems like it. So before we get started, let's go ahead and get into the promos. Make sure you guys go subscribe to the Citizen Man Backup channel if you haven't already. Please make sure you do. They're already flagging me over here on Citizen Man TV again. So if you guys lose me over here, you can stay connected through Citizen Man over on YouTube. All right. Self-Credit Builder. Sign up for Self-Credit Builder. Fix your credit score. Put yourself on a path to a brighter financial future. Rumble. Create a Rumble account. It's fast. It's free. And it allows you to comment in the live chat, comment on the uploaded videos, hit the thumbs up, which is very important. Share the videos, which is also very important. And if you're a content creator, you can start creating your own content and posting your own content on Rumble. And having that Rumble account, well, it's pretty good to have, because not only do you get access to the streams that I've put up on YouTube and had to take down and have been taken down, but you also get access to other content creators who have also been rejected from YouTube and have now moved over to Rumble and put up their content. And it's a lot of hardcore shit over here because Rumble doesn't censor like YouTube does. So make sure you guys get over to Rumble, support your boy over on Rumble. Get yourself a copy of The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, Get Back to Nature and Natural Healing, Metabolic Cooking for the weight loss recipes, and Anabolic Cooking for the muscle building recipes. And last but not least, if you guys would like to support the show, financially through your kind donations. You could send those donations in via Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. Notice the big red X through the PayPal because I no longer trust PayPal because they froze my account a few weeks ago, about a week and a half ago. And, well, I had to fight them to unfreeze it. So the PayPal account is active. The link is posted to the top of the YouTube chat in the black box where it says Citizen Man TV in yellow. So is the Cash App and the Venmo links. And you can also find the tags scrolling across the screen in the banner below. And all three links are also posted in the description box of every video. All right. So let's see. I got a couple of shout outs to do already. So I want to give a big shout out to my brother Humbled Up. My good brother Humbled Up actually dropped a 10 on me while I was on Sanchez's stream the other day. So appreciate that, Humbled Up. Shout out to Sister Katrina. She says, I'm a Sanchezian. Love your content. Appreciate that, Katrina. I really do appreciate you appreciating the content. And of course, shout out to my brother Lee14224 with the Faithful 5. Says, can't wait for Flat Earth Wednesdays. Well, brother Lee, you don't have to wait anymore. We are here and it is Flat Earth Wednesday. Now, I made mention of my appearance on Brother Sanchez's show. And if you guys missed it, the link is posted in the community, in my community tab over on YouTube. And on that show, it was actually a pretty good show, and I was able to share tons and tons of information as Brother Sanchez allowed me the floor to do so, which I greatly appreciate because without him in my corner, man, I wouldn't have half the followers that I have after all the flagging and stuff. So I really appreciate the brother for that. And shout out to all the Sanchez subscribers, all the Brother Sanchez subscribers that made their way over to either my Rumble page or my YouTube page. I want to thank you guys for being here and giving me a shot. Thank you for that. Now, there were a couple of points that were brought up on the show. And there was one because I re-listened to it over and over again. Well, not over and over again, but I re-listened to it over. And he asked me, Brother Sanchez asked me a question that I didn't really get to fully answer because we kind of, my answer was a bit long-winded and we kind of segued into a different topic. But he asked me, what do I think about these so-called black leaders like Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed telling black Americans to stay out of the Israel-Palestine beef? And what I think that's about is because we know Dr. Umar Johnson is a sellout. We know Tariq Nasheed is a sellout. There's no question about that. And we know neither of these men have black people's best interest at heart, even though they profess themselves to do so. And these are the same people that, talk about the white man this, the white man that, the white man controls everything, but they never say a word about the small hat man. And I believe that what they're trying to do by telling black Americans to stay out of it is to kind of neutralize our voices on the subject. In other words, get us to stay silent and ignore what's happening. So we, as our specific group, as the arguably the most influential, most culturally influential group, we wouldn't have anything to say about it. And if the black people don't say nothing about it, well, it's approved. So essentially what I believe they're trying to do is they can't sit there and advocate for Israel, because if they advocate and tell black people support Israel, then all the black people are going to look at what Israel is doing and then see those guys for who they really are, Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed. So they dare not say that. And they also can't say support Palestine, because if they say support Palestine, the black folks in America that follow them are going to look at what's happening and what Israel is doing, and they're going to get involved in the conversation and get involved in the debate, and they're going to start seeing what Israel is really doing to those people and turn against Israel. So in order to keep black people on the Israel plantation, so to speak, or in order to keep Israel from being exposed to the American public, what they're trying to do is get black people to basically turn a blind eye to it and not pay attention. even though we've been gassed up all these years about people of color this, people of color that, the white man this, the white man that. Now you got a group of white small hats ordering their military to go in and basically genocide these people of color. And on Friday, I got some more on that Israel-Palestine, Israel-Gaza situation that I want to share with you guys. But the short answer is, what's my opinion on Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed's position on it? I think they're trying to neutralize as many voices in this situation as they can by getting black people to basically turn a blind eye to the genocide. In other words, by de facto, they're supporting the genocide without actually saying they support the genocide. It's treacherous. It's the same. It's treacherous, and it's as wicked as Tariq Nasheed coming up with the foundational Black American title, which is a fictitious category that is not recognized and does not exist in the courts or in any legal definition, and getting black people to identify themselves as this fictitious title that doesn't exist, because nobody that was a slave in America was categorized as a foundational Black American, but rather they were categorized as Native Indians, colored, Negro, everything else. So what Tariq Nasheed is doing, while telling black people he's advocating for reparations, he's actually moving black people further away from being able to get reparations by getting them to falsely identify themselves. It's the exact same tactic that the U.S. government did when they changed the identifying categories of Native Indians to colored or Negro. It's the exact same thing, just creating a new category. Only difference is, instead of the government creating this category, it's Tariq Nasheed creating this category. And Umar Johnson, well, we already know he's on the whole Africa bullshit, which is another treacherous tactic utilized by the establishment to get black folks away from understanding who they truly are. Shout out to LTO for the Cash App. He says, Viva la Tierra Plana. Appreciate that, brother. So I don't trust those guys as far as I could throw them. I think they're both full of shit. I think they're both shills for the establishment, and I think they're both sellouts, and they're not to be trusted. And it's people like them who are those fake leaders that Q talked about that actually are the ones misleading Black Americans and leading us away from progress rather than getting us results. Because Umar Johnson's been collecting millions of dollars. He's collected millions of dollars over the years, and he still ain't got no damn school. Tariq Nasheed's been screaming reparations for years, but he hasn't filed one court case. You see what I'm saying? They're full of shit. And anybody who follows them is either grossly misled or they're just stupid. But there was another discussion that came up about Trump, and there was a brother on the panel. I forget his name, but he was talking about Trump's family crest and the worship of Janus and all this shit. And if you go back and listen to what he said a lot of cool sounding shit. A lot of the shit he said sounded very, very cool, but there's nothing concrete to it. There's nothing to it. And here's why. Because the people that we're at war against are infiltrators. They've infiltrated every system of government across the world and established their own de facto governments while using the existing government of that nation as kind of like a cover operation to give the people of that nation the impression that they're still in control of their country, kind of like what they did here in America. And the only way to root out the players within that system who are helping to prop up this pseudo system, this de facto government, is to infiltrate them and take them down from within, which is exactly what Trump did. So all that shit about Trump being one of them and blah, 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 it's no different than calling the undercover cop a drug dealer. Of course he's going to appear as a drug dealer. He's infiltrating a drug trafficking organization. It's that simple. It is literally that simple. And not only that, but we all know, in order to get to those high positions, those command and control positions of power, you have to be one of the elite. So what did Trump do? He built his business up, made himself one of the elite, and got himself in power. Remember, Trump was loved by everybody in America. Nobody in America had a problem with Trump, well, maybe except for Jeffrey Epstein. But nobody in America had a problem with Trump until he ran for president and started conducting those raids, those trafficking raids. All right. And what the brother was, where the brother was off the mark at. And here's where you have to be careful, right? When you're studying these, when you're studying these, or when you're listening to these alternative media sources and they're telling you all this stuff about this person and that person and Trump and all this shit, you have to remember that Donald Trump is not biologically a Trump. So whatever the Trump family crest has on it or doesn't have on it, which frankly, I don't give a fuck about that. What I care about is results. And when the man was in office, he brought us results. But anybody you see talking about the Trump family crest and Trump-A and all that bullshit, it's absolute bullshit. You know why? Because Donald Trump is not a Trump. He is actually a Patton by blood. He is the son of George Patton. So if you want to talk about Trump's bloodline and you're not using the name Patton, you're already off the mark. And this was another tactic utilized by the military when they chose Trump to be installed in power, because everybody thinks he's biologically a Trump. And because of the Trump-A name and the Trump-A family and the family crest and all that, it was very easy for him to make his way into those elite circles and brush shoulders with these high-level elites and get to know how they operate and what they do. But in reality, he's a part of the resistance. And for thousands of years, ever since the elites have taken over, because Patton was dying, I think the story goes Patton knew he was going to die. And I think the year after Trump was born was the year George Patton died, or it might have been the same year. But if you look at Donald Trump and his brother, I think his brother's name was Robert Trump. They don't look alike. They don't look anything alike. They do not. But anyway, this was part of his infiltration tactic, because for thousands of years, there has always been families who were able to amass some semblance of wealth enough to wage war on the elites, on the royals, and on the kings, and they staged these rebellions, and a lot of these rebellions were put down. Most of them were. The only rebellion that actually succeeded was the Revolutionary War of 1776, the Haitian Revolution, and other wars. But because the elites can't take the L, they have to come back and get you back somehow. They infiltrated. This is why Q always says infiltration instead of invasion. And what the brother said, even though he was wrong about the Trump name and Trump's bloodline, what he said about Q going all the way back to ancient times was actually right. But Q was the symbol that represented the resistance, and the resistance was the common folks who banded together, put their money together, and decided to fight off the royals and try to go against them. This is where the story of William Wallace and Braveheart comes from. And you saw what happened at the end of the movie. They lost the war and William Wallace was executed. And this is why the elites have been able to maintain their power, and they've kept such a tight stronghold on the power, because they were getting tired of fighting off these resistors. But see, we're in a different day and age now, where we're not riding horses and jousting and swinging swords and firing cannons and muskets at each other, but rather we're fighting for control of the force of government, which means police force, military force, any type of governmental force, and the power to control your nation's money, your nation's currency. That's what this war is about. And that's why the infiltration had to happen. And Trump is a part of the resistance. He's always been. And he is not the man that spearheaded the entire operation against the elites. It was actually a group of military generals who to this day are still unnamed, that actually selected and recruited Trump for the job. And this all started back during the Kennedy time. When Kennedy was assassinated, Trump was actually a senior at New York Military Academy. And most of the other guys at New York Military Academy were from military families that fought in World War I and World War II. And their fathers and grandfathers watched the infiltration happen. They saw all these new agencies being put into place that were actually absolutely unconstitutional. They saw the government expanding, and they saw John F. Kennedy come in and oppose all of this massive government intrusion into our lives. And Kennedy got knocked off. And once they saw that, they did what they called activated the beacon of light, where they reactivated the Q messaging board, and they started communicating with each other and plotting against the elite. And every election cycle, they would bring in somebody to try to run against whoever the elite puppet was, but that person always lost because of election fraud. And the only other person that they got into power that was going to do what Kennedy did or continue the work that Kennedy did was Ronald Reagan. And he was talking all that good shit until George W. Bush's friend, John Hinckley Jr., shot Ronald Reagan in the chest. Remember that? And after Reagan got shot, he realized, you know what? I can't go against these people. I got to go along. I got to play ball. So he switched sides, because the threat of death is enough to make a man switch sides, just in case you didn't know. But by the time Trump came around, the military was already fed up and frustrated. You got to remember, these military generals command thousands of men and women, and they've overseen, you know, dozens of wars, and all of these illegal wars resulted in the men and women who serve under their commands being needlessly deleted. And that would be upsetting to any leader, knowing that the men and women in your under your command are going to lose their lives is upsetting enough. But then to find out that they lost their lives just to keep the banks going and to keep the monopoly money flowing, that'll be enough to piss you off. And then the men and women who are lucky enough to survive the combat come home, and just to see them being treated like shit by the VA, where while there's a president, a commander-in-chief in office who turns a blind eye to it, well, that's enough to get them really upset with the elites. And nobody had a bigger axe to grind with the elites than the U.S. military. But the problem was, because everybody's probably wondering, or some of y'all are probably wondering, well, if the military had all this animosity against the elites, why didn't they just all get together and turn their guns on them? Well, that's because the elites always had agents from the CIA and other agencies infiltrate the military to keep the commanders and the men in line. Remember Pat Tillman, that NFL player that gave up his NFL job to go fight in Iraq? Remember what happened to him when he tried to blow the whistle on the opium that they were shipping out to the United States? He got executed. 3-round burst right to the forehead. And then they try to make it seem heroic, like he was killed in combat by the enemy and blah, 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 blah. And they come to find out it was friendly fire. They executed him. And that threat of death is what kept most of these military commanders in line and following orders. And this is why they needed Trump to be president, because with a president that would take the reins off of them and take the leash off of them, then they would be able to turn the dogs loose on the elites. And that's what happened once Trump took power in 2016, or got elected and took power in 2017. He turned the dogs loose on the elites, and this is where all the celebrities started disappearing. This is where the arrests and executions came in. This is how the elites responded, was by massive censorship to block the information that was being put out about these operations. And boom, 2020 with the scamdemic to lock everything down and destroy and get us, the people, as long as we comply with their lockdown, to destroy the economy of the United States. Trump would be blamed and the people would vote him out and get rid of him. That was their goal. That was their plan. But their plans failed because Trump had already gotten rid of Biden and installed a replacement. And the military had already seized the assets belonging to Hollywood. They had already seized the White House and the Capitol building. Congress was already under COG, which is continuity of government, where their powers are severely limited. And once the Biden show, what I call the Biden show, commenced, the takedown of the fiat financial system also commenced. And this is why we're seeing all this massive inflation. But it gets a lot deeper than that, because Trump is a man of the people, and Trump has been fighting these elites since before he became president. He just had to be very careful about it, because it's much harder to assassinate the president than it is to assassinate, an everyday average working American businessman. Oh, excuse me. But Q says, your voice matters, your vote matters. Everything you see today is an attempt to eliminate that. The censorship to eliminate your voice, and the election fraud to eliminate your vote. And they've done a pretty thorough job at eliminating our votes. So much so that some of the brightest minds in this country refuse to even take a look at politics, because voting is it seems inconsequential, because the system is so rigged. And this is why part of Trump's agenda was not only to get rid of the elites, but also to clean up the election system. And I'm going to have more on that on Friday. But it says, to remain silent, living in fear, controlled, is to remain powerless. A moment in time. History has taught us that people will rise. Judgment Revolution Day against the rulers. You see that? History has taught us that people will rise against the rulers. Shout out to LTO with the $5 challenge on the Cash App. And this is what I was explaining to you about the resistances that have happened throughout history. And it says, from pharaohs to kings to elected officials. That's actually a chronological timeline of these people's rule on earth. They started as the pharaohs, which is what Brother Sanchez teaches, right? They started from the pharaohs. From the pharaohs, they became the kings. And today we have the quote unquote elected officials, who in most cases aren't even elected, but are rather selected. A rigged system of control and corruption, evil on the backs of the people, modern day slavery. People will rise again. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. You see that? So even Q knows about the pharaohs and about the spiritual war in the spiritual realm. We're not just politics, vote for Trump politics. No, this is much deeper than that, much deeper than that. And just to prove to you that Q, just to show you a quick Q proof, this Q post is called the Q Clearance Patriot, and it was posted November 1st, 2017, where Trump kind of basically gives you an overview, an outline of what the plan actually is without saying what the plan actually is. And at the end of it, it says, God bless my fellow Americans, and it's signed 4/10/20. And 4/10/20 is DJT. Those are the letters of the alphabet that spell out his initials. And as you can see here, there is the iconic 4/10/20 on his limousine license plate in New York City back in the 80s. So Trump is very, very closely tied to Q. And just for one more proof to show you that he does sign DJT, this was a post that he posted today on Truth Social pertaining to a CNN debate against crooked Joe Biden. And it's funny that it's a CNN debate, because I made mention on Brother Sanchez's show about the CNN building being closed down and the sign being removed because CNN is going all digital. And they have to go all digital because there is no real Joe Biden except for that skin mask actor and the CGI videos that they continually show us in the media. So for Trump to debate Joe Biden on CNN, it's going to be all digitized because they no longer have a physical location. But Trump says, it is my great honor to accept the CNN debate against crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the United States and a true threat to democracy. On June 27th, likewise, I accept the ABC News debate against crooked Joe Biden on September 10th. Thank you. And it's signed DJT. That's 41020, Donald John Trump. See, Trump is more of a military man than a politician or businessman, in case you guys didn't know. And these are some executive orders that he signed pertaining to human trafficking, which basically sent the signal that he was turning the dogs loose. This is from this one that's circled here is from December 21st, 2017. Executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. And wouldn't you know, Drake got exposed for pedophilia by Kendrick Lamar. And all three of Drake's mansions are now up for sale. And if you go look up celebrity mansions for sale, you'll find that in recent years, a long list of celebrities, many of whom we haven't seen or heard much of lately in the last few years, are all selling their mansions, because it's not them selling the mansions. It's the U.S. government selling the mansions because the mansions have been seized. And here's another one from October 11th, 2018. President Donald J. Trump is taking action to end human trafficking. And this was setting up the task forces between Space Force and the local police departments. This one is from March 31st, 2020. And it says Proclamation on National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, 2020. And the next one is Executive Order on combating human trafficking and online child exploitation in the United States. And this one was basically a detailed outline of how these task forces were going to operate. So Trump actually made real moves against human trafficking, and it blows my mind to see so many people still of the belief, kind of like how people still believe in the globe, still believe that Trump is one of the bad guys, when Trump is literally the only president in our lifetimes that has, one, lost 75% of his wealth, lost wealth during his presidency, and two, actually took a public stance against human and child trafficking. No other president has done this. And the reason why he did this is because he knew that the pedophilia and the child trafficking was what was the one vice that tied all these celebrities, politicians, and this entire infiltration establishment together. So you go after the human traffickers and the child traffickers, and it kind of creates a dragnet where you catch everybody. And this was done with the help of Space Force. Now, this is what I was talking about on Brother Sanchez's show with Space Force. It was founded December 20th, 2019, or so it says on Wikipedia. But in reality, it was actually operational from the time Trump took office in 2017. And there's some Q coding in this date. You just take all the numbers of 12/20/2019, add them all together, and they add up to 17. Anything tagged with 17 is Q, because Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet, of course. And anything tagged with Q has deeper meaning, and it's encoded with something. So what I did was I kept reading over the part of Space Force here where it says roll, and this is on you. This should show up on your Wikipedia mobile view. This is the screenshot I took in, I believe this was in 2020. And one of the main one of the simplest Q decodes is to take the first, when you have a list of phrases, you take the first word of every phrase and you put it all together, and it says something totally different than what you're reading. So here it says space security, combat power projection, space mobility and logistics, information mobility, space domain awareness. So you take the Q decode, every word, the first word of every line, and it spells out space combat, space logistics, information space, which is the internet. And the reason why Space Force was created, and it was sold to us as if we were sending ships to outer space and we were going to control outer space and blah, 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 was because all of the pedophile networks, the big ones, operate on the internet. And because they operate on the internet, the military would have to track and trace them on the internet, and using their task forces established through Trump's executive orders, they would be able to set up sting operations and use the intel that they've gathered on these perverts to send the local police out to nab them in these sting operations. And this is why, since the inception of Space Force, we've been seeing so many large trafficking busts involving child victims and very important people. Very important people like judges, police officers, lawyers, city councilmen, congresspeople, teachers, Disney employees, you know, that type of stuff. Well, here is one, and these were some private to catch a predator people, because ever since the police have been doing these massive busts, it's inspired other individuals to start running sting operations of their own. And what do you know? FBI/federal government worker came to meet 15-year-old on work break. And when he showed up, they flashed the camera in his face, and there he is wearing his face diaper, and he's all scared and shit now because he's busted. He can't hide behind his federal badge anymore. We know you're a pervert with a badge now. So you're even more dangerous than the average perverts on the street, which means you get extra care and attention, my friend. And you remember that show from Chris Hansen, To Catch a Predator? I remember Bro Sanchez mentioned that on a different show. You know why they stopped airing that show? Because they started catching county judges and prosecutors in these sting operations, and they did not want these prominent people exposed on national television. So they canceled the show altogether to protect the perverts in power. That's why Chris Hansen's show got taken off the air, To Catch a Predator. That's why they stopped making new episodes, because they started catching judges and shit. But with Space Force, this is the type of work that they were doing. They were scouring all these websites that sell merchandise, and they were looking for grossly overpriced merchandise. And the reason why this storage cabinet it costs $14,000, it's not because it's some fancy Yuritsa brand or anything, but rather it was this young lady being sold. Yuritsa Castro, missing since June 10th, 2020, from Harwinton, Connecticut, age 16. And just to show you this is not a one-off, here's another one for $13,000. Somaya 5-shelf storage cabinet by WFX Utility. And damn it, I don't have the slide. Why don't I have the slide? Well, I'll just show you. I'll just show you on camera. I don't know how I don't have the slide. But that Somaya is actually a missing girl named Somaya Mumin, who was kidnapped out of Ohio. Columbus, Ohio. She was kidnapped out of Columbus, Ohio. Let me see if you guys can actually see that. I don't know if you can. Nope, I don't think you can. I hate when my slides don't show up. It pisses me off. There we go. That's the girl they were selling. And it took Space Force to find her. There we go. Somaya Mumin. Missing child. And that's what Space Force was set up to do, to track these missing children that were being trafficked on the internet. And Wayfair, Walmart, and a couple of these other major websites were directly involved in assisting to traffic these children. And this is why Space Force had to get involved. And here's Trump sending the signal through one of his tweets. Would be so great if the media would get the word out to the people in a fair and balanced way. And there's Wayfair. When you cross them, it spells Wayfair. There you go. Right, New Jersey Greek, Ellen DeGeneres pillows for $12,000. Yeah. When you see grossly overpriced merchandise like that, they're selling people, is what they're doing. So, in case you guys are wondering why I support Trump, it's not just because of the politics. The politics is what got me interested in what he was actually doing, but what he's been doing behind the scenes is what really got my attention and really made me support him. And it kind of makes me look at people who still doubt him with the side eye, because you sound like the fake fucking news. You sound like the fake news, because the people who think Trump is one of the bad guys completely ignore the fact. In order to paint Trump as a bad guy, you'd have to completely ignore the fact that he was the man spearheading the movement, the operations to take down the largest child trafficking rings all around the world, creating alliances with clean governments that weren't infiltrated, setting up task forces in foreign countries that were ran by our military, and coordinating with those local militaries to carry out their own operations while coordinating with our local police here in the United States to carry out our own operations. That's why I support Trump. That's why I rock with Trump. Because his heart truly is with the people, and the elites that we know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, who are our enemies, they're his enemies too. He's made enemies out of them too. And I can respect that. You got to respect it. Shout out to William with the 2-piece on the Cash App. Y'all hit the Cash App, support the operation, support the show. So on to this flat earth thing, right? Let's get on to the subject of the night. Let's not waste too much time here. The flat earth. If flat earth is true, then why do so many people still believe in the globe? Well, it's simple. The truth is that horizon, that flat horizon line you see there, the PSYOP is the floating disk in outer space that we touched on earlier in the show. And of course, the claim is the fake globe. And what happens is when you try to show people the truth and they go look it up, they get exposed to the PSYOP, and then they immediately bounce back to the globe because that's what's comfortable. And this is the nonsense that they taught us all in school. So even us flat earthers were indoctrinated with the same crap, with the same garbage. So it ain't like we went to some special school that taught us something totally different than everybody else. The only difference is we were wise enough to question what we were taught, and well, others weren't. But just looking at this, you could tell it's some cartoon crap. It's cartoon bullshit. And if our public schools would teach us these things, perhaps we would have a much more functional and productive society. Instead, they want a bunch of dumbed down slaves. So what do? They teach us this to make us, to implant in our minds the idea that we're small and insignificant and don't mean anything. And this slide right here, subjects that should be mandatory in schools. And of course, they're not mandatory in schools because our school system is ran and controlled by the enemies of the people as well. Taxes, coding, cooking, insurance, basic home repair, self-defense, survival skills, social etiquette, personal finance, public speaking, car maintenance, stress management. These are all the things they don't teach us in school, because they don't want us to be productive people, and they don't want us to be self-reliant. They want us to be dependent and unproductive. Because as long as we're dependent and unproductive, we will only ever have our focus on those we are dependent on. And the only things we will produce is whatever is demanded by the people we're dependent on, rather than producing from our own natural innovations, our own minds, our own thoughts, our own imaginations. They don't want that. They don't want free-thinking people, because if you have free-thinking people, there's no way you'd ever be able to sell this to them without question, or make people believe that this giant tree stump is actually a dried up pool of lava. I've never seen lava do this before, but I've seen tree stumps that look like this, and this is actually a giant plateau. The size of a mountain, damn near. That is a giant ancient tree stump, is what that is. And anybody with critical thinking skills would immediately look at this, go look at a cut down, rotten tree stump, and realize they're looking at the same damn thing. But for the dumbed down morons who don't think for themselves and quote unquote believe the experts, well, they'll sit there and argue with you that that's a lava pile. That's a lava pile. My ass. I've literally never seen lava do this. Never. I've seen petrified wood do it though. But here you have the PSYOP, the floating disc in outer space. And this is a mainstream article attempting to discuss flat earth. Livescience.com. Flat earth theory. Why do some people think the earth is flat? Well, why do we need the globe earthers to tell us about flat earth? Because Live Science obviously is a mainstream outlet and they're going to push the globe. So why are globe pushers telling us about flat earth rather than saying, hey, if you want to learn about flat earth, go listen to this guy, listen to that guy, and watch this guy's channel and that guy's channel? Because they know if they point people in the right direction for real flat earth information, they won't be able to use this PSYOP to bounce people back to the globe claim. And it's simply a matter of critical thinking. Lighthouse on a flat earth functions exactly the way we see them function. Lighthouse on a ball earth, well, that light would have to curve. And of course, we know light doesn't curve. That's just a basic flat earth argument. But they keep people away from thinking this way by constantly entertaining us with the space junkie nonsense, right? A secret robot, China's Change 6 moonlander, has a mysterious guest on board. And there's the picture of the fake moonlander and all the bullshit that they feed us. But these types of articles right here are the ones I love the most. People are confused why we can't feel our motion through the solar system and galaxy. Well, from studying flat earth and interacting with other flat earthers, I must say none of us are confused at all. We just know that you're lying. It's not a matter of confusion, but rather a matter of questioning known liars. So let's take a look at this article from IFL Science. People are confused why we can't feel our motion through the solar system and galaxy. And this article is similar to the one I showed you, the one I shared with you guys last Wednesday about why people can't feel the motion of the earth spinning. And the excuse that they gave us for people not feeling the earth spinning is literally the same excuse they're going to use in this article. I can assure you. I haven't read the full article yet, but that's usually their go-to argument. We're hurtling through the galaxy. Excuse me. At 828,000 kilometers per hour. That's 500 miles per hour. So why do we feel stationary? Well, we feel stationary because we're not hurtling through anything at any speed. So let's check out this article. We know this through centuries of observing the planets and stars and observing their motion relative to our planet. You see evidence of the Earth's spin constantly as the sun and stars move across the sky as we rotate like a gigantic kebab. If you're willing to put the effort in, you could also observe nearby stars apparently changing position in the sky, known as parallax, throughout the year, gathering your own evidence of Earth's orbit around the sun. You could also observe stellar aberration, building a case for the model of the solar system we figured out centuries ago. So Basically, what they're saying here is you see things moving in the sky, and that proves that the ground is moving underneath you. Very nonsensical argument. And then they say, a model of the solar system we figured out centuries ago, right? And you know how they figured out that model of the solar system centuries ago? This was the technology they claimed they had centuries ago. A bullshit ass telescope that looks more like a penis pump is what they used to determine that there were planets and stars and galaxies and quasars and all that bullshit. This is what they used, apparently. But somehow today, the flat earthers use Nikon P900s and P1000s, which are much more powerful and show you much more detail than those bullshit penis pump telescopes they had centuries ago. And for some reason, the globe earthers will still sell you the idea that the penis pump got it right and the Nikon P1000 got it wrong. So one of their arguments is, well, we know Earth is not people thought Earth was flat back then because they didn't have the technology we have now to prove that Earth is a globe, right? So when they're claiming that Earth is a globe and they're claiming to prove Earth is a globe, then the technology is good enough when it proves Earth is a globe, quote unquote. I put prove in quotation marks. But when it comes to proving flat Earth, all of a sudden, the ancient technology was right, or the primitive technology was right, and the modern technology that they so heavily rely upon to make their arguments, now all of a sudden, that ain't good enough. You see how they flip-flop on the arguments and they pick and choose? So technology works when it proves the globe, but technology doesn't work when it proves Earth is flat. Well, let's continue with this article. But of course, there are people out there on the planet who don't believe this is true. In a recent post by one confused individual, they post the Earth's movement through the solar system and galaxy, and the fact that we can still do things like tightrope walks and stacking rocks as proof that the model is incorrect. This, of course, a hot mess of a post that demonstrates a profound misunderstanding of physics. And there you go. So somebody that's questioning their science has a profound misunderstanding of physics. But we don't profoundly misunderstand physics when we say, how the hell can a pressurized atmosphere exist in a vacuum without a solid barrier? That's not a misunderstanding of physics. That's a thorough understanding of physics. Thorough enough to realize that this globe model that they give us does not align with the laws of thermodynamics, which means it's not compatible with realistic physics. So we actually, as flat earthers, have a better understanding of physics than the globe earthers, because it would take a gross misunderstanding of physics, a profound misunderstanding of physics, to actually believe that a pressurized atmosphere could exist in a vacuum. The idea appears to be that the fact that we don't feel the planet hurtling through the galaxy somehow proves that the planet is stationary. In fact, the reason why we don't feel the Earth move at breakneck and everything else speeds is because there is no such thing as an absolute frame of reference in the universe. Isn't this literally what I've been saying? Everything in the universe is moving. There is no absolute frame of reference. In other words, there is no stationary point of reference. But if there is no stationary point of reference, how the hell do they know how fast everything is moving? Because they could tell you how fast Venus is going around the sun. They tell you how fast Pluto is going around the sun. They tell you how fast Earth is spinning. They tell you, hell, in the beginning of the fucking article, they told us how fast Earth is hurtling through the galaxy. Our solar system is hurtling through the galaxy at 828,000 miles, 1,000 kilometers per hour. But in the second paragraph of the article, they admit that there's no, on the third paragraph of the article, I'm sorry. Oh, shit, this is the fourth paragraph. In the fourth paragraph of the article, they admit that there is no such thing as an absolute frame of reference in the universe. So if there's no such thing as an absolute frame of reference in the universe, where do the speeds come from? So with that one line right there, they debunk themselves. And this is why I love these articles. There's gold in them. I swear, there's flat earth gold. They debunk themselves every time they decide to run their mouths. This is a hot mess of an article. Whoever wrote this article is confused and has a profound misunderstanding of physics. But anyway, when not accelerating or decelerating, you are at rest. Whether you are hurtling along on Earth, on a rocket heading away from Earth, or slowly orbiting the solar system on planet 9 if it exists. So in other words, when not accelerating or decelerating, meaning when your speed is constant. But didn't we just cover an article last week claiming that the speed of the Earth's rotation is not constant, but yet somehow we still don't feel it spinning? A body at rest remains at rest while a body in motion remains in motion until another force acts upon it, known as inertia. This is the state you are in as you travel on the Earth. The Earth's motion is relatively smooth, though it is slowed and sped up by various factors. So there you have it. The Earth's rotation is slowed down and sped up. So we're not at a constant speed, at a consistent speed. We're accelerating and decelerating. So we should fucking feel it moving, yet we don't. Debunking themselves once again. I love these articles, I swear. Keep putting out these articles, you clowns, please, so I can keep tearing your shit apart every time you do. Various factors, including earthquakes. If it were more jerky, you would feel the acceleration and deceleration from forces being applied to the Earth, but you do not feel constant velocity or inertia. But yet another mainstream science article says we do. Think about when you are in an airplane. When the vehicle begins to accelerate, you feel this force being applied to you via the chair behind and beneath you. But once the aircraft stops accelerating and achieves a constant speed, your frame of reference is at rest. You feel as stationary as you were on Earth, which remember is actually hurtling through the universe. But again, here they have the false equivalency using an enclosed pressurized space, meaning the airplane. Just like in the other article, they use the car. But Earth is not enclosed according to their model. Oh, shit. Shout out to Mr. General with the 25 piece on the PayPal. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Let me see if you left a comment. No comment. Appreciate your oral general. What up, T. Wriggles? Let's see. Think about when you are in an airplane. When the vehicle begins to accelerate, you feel this force being applied to you via the chair behind and beneath you. Okay, we already read this. So they're again comparing Earth, which is open. Oh, that's you, Dean General. Appreciate you, brother. There is. I thought that might have been you. So the Earth does not have a roof over it. The Earth is not encapsulated according to their model. Let's go back to the solar system picture. How can you compare this to an airplane or a car? You can't, unless the airplane it has an open passenger compartment, or the car is a convertible. But they never use the convertible or an open air cockpit airplane with an open air cockpit, like those old school double winged airplanes that they used to fly back in World War I. So again, they're using false equivalencies, throwing shots, being disrespectful, talking about confused and a hot mess, not understanding physics and all that. And then they hit you with the false equivalency. So they kind of prime you to dislike the flat earther, and then they start selling you the bullshit. The rocks of the above post are not immune from the laws of motion and inertia. They continue on the path they are set on, in this case being a cute little stack following the motion of the earth, until a force, some jerk knocking them over, is applied to them. As well as not having to worry about the motion of the earth throughout the galaxy, only his frame of reference, the tightrope walker in the post, Philippe Petit, also benefits from the earth's dragging most of our atmosphere along with it through frictional force. And that's another bullshit lie they tell about earth dragging the atmosphere with it. While a stationary earth would explain why, because if earth was dragging the atmosphere with it, the winds would be coming from one direction only. While a stationary earth would explain why the rocks do not fall over, it would not explain many of the other things, such as parallax of the stars. But you know what would explain parallax of the stars? The stars moving that we have observed, nor be able to make predictions about the movement of bodies in the universe, which is why we abandoned the model centuries before the meme was made. Well, here's the thing. Ancient societies were able to make predictions about the movements of the bodies in the universe because they were moving around long before we got here. So this article is completely full of shit. They use disrespect, disparagement, false equivalencies, and flat out lies to try to sell you the globe. That's their strategy. That's their tactic. Now, this one is even more interesting. This is from Scientific American, March 27th, 2020. And I don't believe this article was published in 2020. I think that's a false date because I covered a similar article from Scientific American, the same outlet, with the same headline in, I think it was like a couple of Flat Earth streams ago. I don't know who remembers, but the point that I was making, because the title is Flat Earthers, What They Believe and Why. And the point that I was making about this article is, why are globe earthers trying to tell the public what flat earthers believe and why, rather than speaking to an actual flat earther? So this article actually consists of a dialogue between a reporter and some guy named Michael Marshall, who's the project director for the Good Thinking Society in the UK. And he talks about flat earth. But if you look at it, this is Scientific American's Science Talk, posted on March 27th, 2020. I'm Steve Mirsky. I'm going to let my guest introduce himself in a moment because he does a better job than I could. And the guest, of course, his name is Michael Marshall. And he is another Mad Mike, right? Remember, MM equals 33. That's Masonic symbolism. And remember the last Flat Earth stream, or 2 Flat Earth streams ago, where I showed you all the Masonic symbolism in NASA? Yeah. This is part of the PSYOP. So I am Michael Marshall, and I'm the project director of Good Thinking Society, which is a charity based in the UK. The whole purpose of our charity is to promote science, to challenge pseudoscience. So we'll do work to forward science education. And then another part of the work that we do, which is the bulk of my work, is to find ideas that aren't backed by evidence and find people who are promoting those ideas, find people who are buying into those ideas, and to explore them and figure out if anything can be done to prevent people from being confused. There's that key word again. By them, harmed by them, misled by them in those kinds of those kinds of things. In those kinds of things. I believe this article is fake and it was written by AI because there's a lot of typos. Like right here, there should be commas. And it's supposed to be and those kinds of things, not in. So I spent a lot of my time looking. At things like alternative cancer kills and the people who promote those in alternative medicine. I've spent a lot of my time going to see people who say they can talk the dead. You see all these typos? This is an AI written article. This is indicative of AI writing this. Who who say they can do faith healing. And then another part of my time is spent talking to people who believe in unusual ideas and who are kind of proponents of them. And that's how I came across the flat earth world, is through my slightly odd hobby. You see all the uhs? This is AI. This is indicative of being written. Somebody went into Chat GPT and said, Chat GPT, create a conversation between a reporter and a flat earther. And this is what they cooked up. I can almost guarantee it. At the time before I was working full time as a skeptic, it was the hobby of mine to be in rooms filled with people who disagree with me, to just understand what brings people to ideas that I would look at and say, well, this can't be true. These kinds of fringe and extreme and unusual beliefs, but flat earth is not an unusual belief because it was a belief held by the majority of the people on earth before your masters came to power, Mr. MM, Mr. Double M. What brings people to believe them, and what kind of paths lead people there? What evidence supports their position in their minds, and how do they engage with the world with that worldview and try to have conversations? Well, all we do is we try to show people the lies that y'all tell. That's what we do. That's how we engage with people. I've got a podcast where I talk to people who have kind of fringe beliefs, and instead of having a conversation that a lot of people would have if they are a skeptic about something and they're talking to a believer, where you shout at them and tell them they're wrong and point out all the evidence and tell them, and it gets into quite a volatile discussion sometimes. Instead of that, I try and have a civil and polite chat to try and explore the gap between us. So I say I don't believe in this idea of yours, but I'm really interested to figure out why I don't believe it and why you do. So let's have a conversation. Well, see, that's fair. So I have these kinds of civil discussions, and that's kind of how I came across the flat earth theory. See that? Typo? AI. Flat earth theory, and the idea that there are people walking around today who think the world is flat. Well, there were people walking around 1,000 years ago that thought the world was flat. There were people walking around 40 years ago that thought the world was flat. There were people walking around 100 years ago that thought the world was flat. So Steve says, it's really interesting and serendipitous that we're sitting here, because I knew that there was some flat earthers out there, and I just thought it was kind of strange and funny. And about a week ago, I discovered a friend of mine who is very well educated. She's got a doctorate in biochemistry, and there's the again. She has a sister who's also very intelligent and very educated. And my friend told me that her sister is a flat earther, and that her sister is very indignant about the idea that we don't take them seriously. And she said something to the effect of, this is heresy that we're getting from me right now. So this article is absolutely fake and written by AI. And it's got the Freemasonic 33 stamp on it with the MM part. That, well, if you looked at the evidence, then you'd know what you've been told isn't true. So all of a sudden, I became fascinated with the flat earth people. And then just on Twitter, I had not been a follower of yours until I saw this tweet that somebody I follow must have retweeted, that you had just given a talk in Edinburgh. This is painful to read, where I had been. And so I reached out to you, and it turns out you live in Liverpool, and here I am in Liverpool today. So that's why we're here talking. So tell me, what do the flat earth people think, and why do they think it? So this person, Mike Marshall, is not even a flat earther, but he's having an entire conversation with a reporter about flat earth, which is insane to me. Why don't they look at all this dialogue. Every one of these pages that I'm about to show you is dialogue. That's dialogue. And I could read it all for you, but you guys can go check this out for yourself. It's an awful lot to go through. It really is. Look at that. A whole long ass, hours long conversation with somebody who is not a flat earther about flat earth. You see the shillery and the chicanery, And I believe either it was the same idiot that wrote it because they kept all the time, or it was AI that wrote it. Right, Silentium, we're not hurtling through space. But not only do they use shill articles like these to keep people on the globe plantation and in the globe religion, but it gets worse than that, because they make it almost impossible for you to wake people up now with all the rigged search results. For example, most people, you tell them about flat earth, and if they find you to be somewhat credible and they want to research it for themselves, one of the first places they're going to go is Google. And you can try this for yourself. Type flat earth into Google and see what it gives you. You type flat earth in Google and it gives you flat earth is an archaic. Well, this is what they give you first. Flat earth is an archaic and scientifically disproven concept of earth shapes. Flat earth is an archaic and scientifically disproven blah, 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 blah. Then they go to Scientific American, flat earthers, what they believe and why. They go straight to this shill article that I just showed you. Scroll down a little more. Flat earthers, what they believe and why. Fighting flat earth theory, physics world, and modern flat earth beliefs by Wikipedia. Pseudoscientific beliefs in a flat earth are promoted by a number of organizations and individuals. The claims of modern flat earth proponents are not based on blah, 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 blah. So you get all this anti-flat earth stuff. Nothing real about an actual flat earther teaching you or sharing with you what they actually believe. And you notice how Wikipedia modern flat earth beliefs, the first word, pseudoscientific. When the globe, nothing could be more pseudoscientific than the globe. And all it takes is some simple thought, some quick, simple thought. Here's some more. A flat earth article. Definitive proof of a spherical earth did not come until Ferdinand Magellan successfully traveled around the earth. Really? But Magellan could have made his route around the flat earth just the same, just like you can get outside and walk around your block. Flat earth theory. Why do some people think the earth is flat? Live science. Flat earthers believe one of the most curious conspiracy theories, there's that word, on the internet. Here's a look at what they believe and why. Again, globe earthers telling you what flat earthers believe instead of allowing a flat earther to tell you. They'll never talk to a real flat earther because they will never give a real flat earther that much exposure, because they cannot afford to have flat earthers out there stimulating the minds of the people to start thinking differently and looking at the globe differently and questioning the pseudoscience of the globe that they've been sold their entire lives. Man, I feel really thirsty. It's weird. Excuse me. Come on, full screen. Where you at? Let's do it. Trying to go full screen here. My computer's lagging. I hate that shit. All right, I think we're ready for full screen. Are we full screen? Yep, we are. Here's another one from BBC, the Big Black Cock Network. That's what I call them. Flat Earth, because all they do is fuck the minds of the people. Flat Earth, how did YouTube help spread a conspiracy theory? And there's that buzzword again, conspiracy theory. So that's if you Google search Flat Earth and you search under all, this is the type of garbage that they feed you. Now, if you type Flat Earth and you click images, guess what's the first thing that pops up? You guessed it, the PSYOP. Oh my God, we got a globe earther right here. Mr. Tummy says, Google. I literally just showed you how discredited Google is. I literally just got done showing you guys how discredited Google is because they're not giving you a fair a fair assessment of flat earth. Whether you believe flat earth or not, there are people out there that believe flat earth, and what Google is sharing when you search flat earth is not the beliefs of the people who believe in flat earth, but globe nonsense. But Mr. Tummy says Google Ordnance Pamphlet 770, 16-inch range table, U.S. Navy. It contains naval gunnery aiming tables that account for Earth's curvature. Well, they say it accounts for Earth's curvature, but it doesn't matter because the rounds curve when they fire them in the air and they drop down, the rounds curve themselves, Mr. Tummy. Also, if you look at laser sighting and laser aiming with from naval ships, those lasers travel in straight lines across the water for dozens, if not hundreds of miles, Mr. Tummy. Also, Mr. Tummy, if you Google, let me see what the article is called. There was an article by NASA, and it said, I mean, not by NASA, by a journalist debunking NASA or exposing NASA because all their technology and their planes and all that were based off of a flat station, the assumption of a flat stationary Earth. I'm trying to see if I can find that headline. Did I put it in this slideshow? I might have. I don't think I did, though. No, it's not in this slideshow. But you see how the indoctrination works, Mr. Tummy? I literally just showed you how rigged Google is, and you're now sending me to Google to learn that Earth is round. And you don't see the inconsistency in that. And that's the scary part. That's the part that scares me the most. Like, smart people, I'm not saying you're dumb or anything, but smart, intelligent people don't even realize that they're being bamboozled. Because you're being bamboozled. If you think Google is going to tell you anything true about this Earth, you got another thing coming, friend. Where is that freaking headline? It was, let me see if I can pull it up. Because I was searching for it on Google, but I couldn't find it. I mean, in my gallery. Because I couldn't find anything about it on Google, and I have it in my gallery somewhere. But I'm going to go to DuckDuckGo, and it says it's 15 articles or 15 times NASA admits Earth is flat. Yep, bunch of fact check. Earth is not flat. You see that? You know what? I gotta find that freaking slide and post it on my community tab. I just don't know where the hell it is. I don't know how far back I need to go because I know I covered it. And you guys, and a lot of you guys that have been following me this whole time, y'all remember when I did that show. That was a Flat Earth Wednesday. And it was an article, and it covered quotes from all these NASA publications where it assumed a flat stationary Earth. They literally wrote that in their documents. And I just can't seem to find it. Here it is. It's from May 28th, 2019. And it's called 15 NASA research papers that admit flat and non-rotating Earth. That's what it's called. You can go look that up yourself. 15 NASA research papers that admit flat and non-rotating. And I love when people come into the chat and say, Google this and Google that, and Google will tell you that. Here's the thing. Google is biased. So you can't trust what Google tells you when it comes to the Earth. And this is me proving to you that Google is biased. I literally just showed it. And, and no offense, Mr. Tummy, no offense at all. And I know you rock with me. I've seen you here before. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure you're one of those people that disagree with me on the globe earth, but you have to realize this is why so many people still believe in the globe and the flat earth, globe earth, even though flat earth is so painfully obvious that even NASA couldn't deny it in their research papers. People still believe it. People still believe in the globe because, or why flat earth is so painfully obvious. People still believe in the globe because when they try to go research flat earth, they get force-fed the globe, as I'm demonstrating here. DME1 says, it's so obvious you didn't notice until 2015. Well, to be honest with you, most of us didn't notice until 2015 to 2020, 2021, 2022, because just like the rest, just like the globe believers, we were taught the same exact thing. We were taught the bullshit too. We spent our whole lives believing the bullshit. But again, it wasn't until we reached a point in our lives where we were willing to actually take a second look at it that we realized it was all a big lie. DME1 is a troll. DME1 says YouTube conspiracy videos. Now DME1, you see, did I not just read the headlines and the articles showing you the buzzword conspiracy theory? And there's DME1, doesn't even realize how indoctrinated he is using the exact same buzzword. Conspiracy theory, conspiracy videos. I know YouTube is owned by Google. I'm actually about to expose YouTube for rigging the search algorithms as well. And that's why YouTube censors flat earth just like Google censors flat earth and gives you globe information rather than actual flat earth information when you try to search it. And I'm glad you brought that up, DME1, because when you type flat earth into images on Google, this is what they give you, right? The PSYOP. Thank you, Selenium. Conspiracy theorist, the word was invented after the JFK assassination to cover that up. Can somebody in the chat please explain to DME1 how, can somebody answer that stupid ass question? How are you on here, if at all, if YouTube is stopping flat earth? Conspiracy videos, conspiracy theory is the same shit. It's the same euphemism to describe the same content, partner. And how am I on here at all? Why do you think I only have 76 fucking people, you asshole? Why do you think I only have barely over 2,000 subscribers, you asshole? This is my 16th YouTube channel. But because you're new, I'm going to go easy on you, but you're really being an asshole. Okay. Now I'm a fool. Okay, so I'm a fool and you can shut the fuck up and go away. How about that? How about that? Why don't you say something now, DME1? Oh, wait, we can't hear you because you're blocked. You stupid fuck. You see how these globe earthers get? You see how they get? They get mad disrespectful, and then when you start disrespecting them back, they get to talking shit. Now I want y'all to make him mad and hit the Cash App. So how am I on here if Google censors, YouTube censors flat earth? What a fucking idiot. What a fucking idiot. I'm on here because I'm flying under the radar. My channel just got flagged last week, you stupid fuck. Man, these globe earthers are some stupid fucks. I swear to God, they are fucking stupid. They have absolutely no reasoning whatsoever, but they love disrespecting people that think differently. They really do, because they think they know it all because Google got all the answers. Google this, Google that. Why don't you Google these nuts? You stupid bastard. Now, when you search flat earth on YouTube, unless you actually type in, and this is what I was going to get to before DME1 started showing his ass. unless you actually type in the specific YouTube channel you want to find to get the flat earth information, if you just go to YouTube and you type in flat earth, this is the type of bullshit that they give you. And notice the imagery. It's the PSYOP with the floating disc in outer space. Here's two more. You search flat earth on YouTube. Is earth flat? Floating disc in outer space. Floating disc in outer space. Why flat earthers scare me? Some old feminist hag right here with a German Shepherd haircut. Not just dumb, but dangerous. So people not believing your lie makes them dangerous. You see how they like to play it and how they spin it? These are the types of people that DME1 listens to. That's why he doesn't belong here. That's why his dumb ass is blocked. Because here's the thing. I've had people in my chat challenge me on the flat earth plenty of times. But as long as they don't get disrespectful, I don't have to disrespect them. And this asshole, TNO, LOL, he's so angry. Of course I'm angry because I'm having to deal with fucking clowns like you assholes that aren't, you're fucking adults and you can't even be open-minded enough to stop and realize, you know what? The government lies to us about every fucking thing else. Why is it not possible that they're lying to us about the globe? So you'll question the government about everything else except what they tell us about the world we live in. Of course I'm fucking angry. I'm fucking angry because I'm watching grown adults defend a lie. And it pisses me off to see grown adults who call themselves intelligent act like such idiots. And yes, Dean General, I'm extremely passionate about this subject because it's so obvious. It's so obvious. Yet these dumbasses, they keep coming in here saying this stupid shit and they don't even realize how stupid they sound. Shout out to LTO with the Cash App. He says, this one is for DMA1. Viva la planetera. Viva la tierra plana. R&B Bay says his profile pic is of outer space. Yeah, go figure. He's a space junkie. Look at this one. Another one. Debunking flat earth in 45 seconds. Mind you, every single one of these videos, just like the articles, are full of lies. All they do is lie. Flat earth guru debunked. They're trying to... Professor Dave, mind you, Professor Dave isn't even a professor. Did you know that? He's not even a professor. But the globe believers that want to come in here and disrespect me because I think differently, because because I'm fucking smarter than them, because I could see through the lies that they're blinded by, they actually believe Professor Dave is a real professor. And that's why they watch his videos and subscribe to his channel. Mind you, Eric Dubay is a layman that simply uses his own observations and his own common sense. But you see, in order to believe in the globe, you have to put common sense aside. You have to put common sense aside and make yourself believe things that couldn't possibly be true. And you have to believe in the false equivalencies of the enclosed system of a car with the windows up or an enclosed airplane fuselage compared to the earth, which is not an enclosed system. Eric Dubay sucks at life. You see that? Disrespecting the man. 200 flat earth proofs debunked. So if Eric Dubay sucks at life, what does that have to do with him proving the earth is flat? Absolutely nothing. But he just has to disrespect them because that's the only way they can really get their point across and get people to listen. And if you ever watch any of Professor Dave videos, he looks like one of those P-files. I'm not even gonna lie. He looks like he looks like a Drake. Let's just say that. Here's another one. And all these videos are in sequence. When you type in flat earth, you just go down the list and this is all they give you. They give you no actual flat earthers. Here's this one. The Flat Earth Theory Explained by Dom Jolly. I don't even know who the fuck this guy is, but this is another hint. This is another tactic that they use, right? Where they have their own shills pretend to be flat earthers and then say stupid shit so they can get themselves debunked. This is how idiots like DME1 and all the other jerks that I had to block up out of here, this is why they keep believing in the globe and keep believing in outer space. Here's this one. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Was the moon landing faked? Neil deGrasse Tyson, who tells you that Earth is round, actually believes in the moon landing. How about that? He actually fucking believes in the moon landing. And he tries to justify it. Let me get my camera back on. And if there's any more globe earthers with something to say, you make your point, but don't get disrespectful, because I am much better at that than you are. You don't want to play that game with me, because you will lose. Plus, I have the power of the block button, or I'll have one of my mods use that use that wrench to practice their golf swing on you. So say what you got to say. Make your points. Let's debate. Let's discuss it. But don't get snarky with me, because I will block your ass. Here's another one from the fake Professor Dave. Earth is definitely not flat. And look what he's using. Space with the floating disc in outer space. You see how they keep trying to fuck with the minds of the people with this stupid ass psyop? Here's another one. Another Professor Dave. Professor Dave humiliates flat earther Dave Weiss. And I watched this video, and Professor Dave made absolutely no points and proved nothing. Dave actually proved his points. Dave Weiss at Flat Earth Dave actually proved his points. He even created the Flat Earth Sun and Moon app, which tells you the time, I don't know if it does weather, but it does the time, the positioning of the sun and moon, the phases of the moon, and it's all 100% accurate. And it corresponds exactly with what you see outside. There's no debunking it, no denying it. You know what Flat Earth Dave did this whole stream? The same shit that that Tiano asshole did. Ha ha, he's so angry. Ha ha, you're stupid. Ha ha. That's all he did. Like a fucking child. Because those are the people that these shills appeal to. The people with the childlike minds that can't possibly think for themselves, so they need mommy and daddy government, the experts, to do the thinking for them, because they lack the ability to think for themselves. And that's why they behave like that. That's their low intelligence showing itself. That's why they get so disrespectful, and they can't have a respectful debate without saying disparaging things, because you're talking to a child with pubic hair. For millions of Brazilians, the earth is flat. AFP News Agency, 330. And if you look at the view counts, the view numbers, these view numbers are way up there. And it ain't just Brazilians that think the earth is flat. But here's one video that talks about people who think the earth is flat, and they always try to play it as if the people that think the earth is flat are mentally ill or some stupid shit like that. But you got to be mentally ill to believe you live on a spinning ball. You have to be mentally deficient to actually believe in the globe and everything they teach you about the globe. And here's Professor Dave again, destroying flat earth without using science. The title alone is self-contradicting. You know why? Because every time they try to prove the globe, it's always scientific this, scientific that. So how do you destroy flat earth without using science? And you notice this Professor Dave clown, he's like one of their favorite shills. He's like one of their favorite agents. They love him. I guess he does a better job than Neil deGrasse Tyson at pretending to be smart, or maybe as good of a job, I should say. But all this is bullshit. And look at the diagram he uses, a cartoon globe. That's all you ever see is cartoon globes. Here's two more. From ABC News, inside a flat earth convention where nearly everyone believes earth isn't round. And this was an ABC News hit piece where they actually try to make those people look like they were crazy. And again, the Professor Dave shill again. The 10 things that all flat earthers say, and they love telling you as globe earthers, they love telling you what flat earthers say and what flat earthers think, instead of simply debating an actual flat earther and having a fair debate, or pointing you to an actual flat earther who can explain it better than they can, because they're globe earthers. They don't know shit about flat earth. They don't care to know shit about flat earth because they believe earth is a spinning ball. And they believe in space and rockets. And in case you guys weren't aware, if you believe in those floating balls in outer space and dick-shaped rockets going up to outer space, do you understand psychologically you're literally being mind-fucked with phallic worship? Here's another one, Mark Sargent. I don't really like Mark Sargent too much because Mark Sargent has bears the hallmarks of a globe earth shill. Inside a flat earth convention where nearly everyone believes earth isn't round. And Mark Sargent is the one they interviewed. And Mark Sargent did that hit piece on flat earth. I think it was called Beyond the Curve or some shit like that. And they bought some device that was supposed to measure the earth's movement, and somehow it measured earth's movement, and then they proved earth had movement, and they were like, we have a problem. No, it didn't, because it was calibrated to do that, to give you the impression that earth is moving. It's not fucking moving. Peace out, Selenium. Here's another one, Dave McKeegan. Why flights don't make sense on a flat earth. Mind you, the flight paths actually make more sense on the flat earth if you actually see a flat earther demonstrate this for you. But when you have a globe earther do it, look, there he is making the face again. Making the faces, got the animations with the floating disc, all this stupid shit. It's stupid. And it gets even dumber when you get to T-Pain, because T-Pain says, if earth is flat, what's under it? Well, we don't fucking know, T-Pain. We don't know what's under it because all our entire lives, this is the bullshit we were taught. That under this globe that we stand on, inside this globe that we stand on, there's a crust that we're on, the mantle beneath, outer core, inner core. That's what we're taught, but we're only ever shown cartoons of it. And there's no way that they can even verify that this is so, because if that were the case, that would mean the deeper you dug down into the ground, the warmer it would get, because you're getting closer to this heat source called the mantle. But unfortunately, in reality, when you dig into the ground, it gets colder. Also, the Earth's crust is supposed to be a few miles thick. This mantle and the inner mantle is supposed to be, I think, about 2,000 miles, about 1,000 miles thick apiece. But the deepest hole ever dug on Earth, ever drilled on Earth, was just under 8 miles. So there's no way to know what's 100 miles down, what's 1,000 miles down. So how did they come up with this? They pulled it out of their asses and they shoved it down DME1's throat and everybody else who believed it, who believes it. They have no idea that this is what Earth looks like. Absolutely no idea. But they make it up. They sell you these cartoons. And of course, who loves cartoons and who believes everything they see in cartoons? Children or adults with childlike minds. And this is why they keep so many adults. They love to keep the adults in this childlike arrested development state where they can't even have a civil debate without being assholes. Because they spent their whole lives watching cartoons and believing cartoons. And, well, this happens to be one of those cartoons that they believed well into their adulthood. And many of them are going to believe this cartoon till the day they die. But to this day, none of them can answer me, how the fuck did they even come up with this? How do they know what's at the core of the globe? How? Because they didn't drill down there. There's no ground penetrating radar that can see through all those miles and miles and miles of obstruction. So how do they know? So even if you don't believe Earth is flat, how can you still possibly hold on and believe in the idea of a globe? Right, Dean General. When your enemies give you the facts, you become the enemies of your fellow man because now you're working for the enemies of humanity. Tricky Ricky over on Rumble says, Citizen Man, one of your old Flat Earth streams with the slide of you commenting on P-File Dave's channel and him responding with an insult was gold. Yeah, Professor Dave actually responded to one of my comments and he had nothing real to say, just an insult. Here's another one. The BBC Earth Science, 1.3 million views. The Big Black Cock Network that mind fucks the world. James May witnesses curvature of Earth while looking through a curved fucking glass. And people aren't even mature enough to realize that he's looking through a curved window. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that there's people out there that still believe in the globe. But this is exactly why they still believe in the globe. They still believe in the globe because the search algorithms are rigged and they have agents all over the internet pushing this. Now, my thing is, if the globe were the truth and flat Earth was the lie, why feel the need to censor flat Earth and push the globe? And it's amazing to me that DME1 actually tried to deny. It's amazing to me that DME1 in particular actually tried to deny that YouTube censors flat Earth with his rhetorical question of, how come you're on here? Well, I'm barely fucking on here. This is my 16th YouTube channel. Because censorship comes in different forms. Censorship doesn't mean we just completely shut your channel down and you can't do a broadcast, which I've experienced that 15 times over in the past. So I know that feeling all too well. But censorship also comes in the form of shadow banning. I'm sure you've heard of that, where they rig the algorithms, they rig the search algorithms to where you don't come up when people search for you. Even if they type in your name, you don't immediately pop up. They got to sift through all this other bullshit, all this extra shit. They suppress your information so less people can find you. That's a form of censorship too. But again, when you're dealing with grown-ass adults with childlike minds, this is why they like to follow the pedophile channels. Grown adults with childlike minds, that's the type of stupidity you have to deal with. DSE says, Citizen Man, you're calling everyone liars. What the fuck do you expect? Who did I call a liar? I'm calling these people liars. If I'm the enemy, why are you in my chat, you idiot? And no, I don't call you people liars. I call you people dumbasses because that's what you are. You're a fucking idiot. Your question is stupid. Your name is stupid. What you're typing in my chat is stupid. The fact that you're even here and you feel that way makes you stupid. Now, let him live. Let's see what other stupid shit he's got to say. Maybe he just got done eating his Fruit Loops, so now he's got something to say. Ah, D. Allen, you timed him out. Damn it. I'm the enemy. No, DSE, you're the enemy because you're the one supporting these assholes. You're the one helping to push the lie. You're the one lying to yourself so much that you attack somebody that's actually trying to share the truth. You're the enemy. And of course, if you're the enemy of the people and I'm an advocate for the people, of course, I'll be your enemy. So you're not wrong for saying I'm the enemy and I don't give a fuck. But guess what? When you're in my chat, if I'm your enemy, guess who's going to win, dummy? I win. It's all right, D. Allen. I was going to block him eventually anyway. So if you're in here calling me the enemy, guess what? You just committed suicide because now you can no longer be here. How about that? Why don't you go troll somebody else? Why don't you go blow Professor Dave? Maybe he'll like that. Why don't you go watch some YouTube videos with 1 million views teaching you that the earth is round since you're so smart? And I guarantee you DSE was one of those same assholes I blocked before. That's all right, Pimper to see. He can get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. I'll block him for you. He's already timed out, so he ain't coming back. He'd be stupid if he came back. DSE. I don't even know what that means. People coming in here with these abbreviations and shit. Get the fuck out of here with that stupid shit. Helio trash. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to call them. Helio trash. There's trailer park trash, and then there's Helio trash. You see, all I'm doing is I'm trying to enlighten the people and share with the people how much they're being lied to. And you see how these idiots react? You see how these idiots get when you start questioning their religion? That's that mind control kicking in. That's that, ladies and gentlemen, right there is a very small snapshot into how MK Ultra works. People's minds are implanted with these false ideas, and when they get triggered, they start acting stupid. Like, yeah, I got angry, I cussed, I raised my voice tonight. I got a little triggered, but I didn't start acting stupid. You know why? Because every fucking word I said made perfect sense. Every point I made was made. And everything I said, you guys understood. But these trolls that kept coming in, that keep coming in here, nothing they said made sense, because look who they're defending. Look what they're defending. They're defending the establishment. So you coming in here trolling me is going to make me believe Earth is round, right, DSE? And your other two buddies I just had to block, y'all coming in here talking shit to me is going to make me say, oh, forget it, guys. Earth is not flat. It's round now because I want to be friends with these 3 assholes in my chat room. Right. Yeah, sure. That's how it works. Stupid fucking idiots. Anyway, since we got these trolls watching and they don't like to see, the truth get any, they don't like to see the truth be rewarded. Hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, hit the Venmo, and support the show. We are at, I believe, between the PayPal and the Cash App, we are at 74%. And we need another 26% to hit the goal. We might actually be able to do it tonight. And I'm not going to lie to you. I love when the trolls come in here. I love when the trolls come in here because they don't, the trolls themselves don't realize it. But what they're doing when they come in here talking shit is they're actually proving my point. They're actually proving me right when I say you have to be an idiot to believe in the globe. You have to be an idiot to think Earth is a spinning ball. And you have to be an idiot to believe these shills on YouTube and on Google and on Google. You have to be dumb as fuck, and you have to have a childlike mind where you refuse to think for yourself and you just believe the experts. You have to. And when they come in here and they say the dumb shit that they say, all they're doing is showing us how that childlike mind, that childlike mentality manifests itself in adult conversations. That's what they're doing. They're coming in here trying to prove me wrong, but they're so ass backwards in their thinking that they don't even realize that they're proving me right. I think the only person, shout out to Robin Stands for Something with the 2P says for Google. Appreciate that, Robin. And honestly, the only person, and you notice Mr. Tummy came in and he said, look on Google for this. And I did not disrespect Mr. Tummy. I kind of went off on him a little bit, but I didn't disrespect him, and he never got blocked. All I said was, Mr. Tummy, I just showed how Google rigs the algorithms, how Google rigs the search results. So if you try to search something on Google, it's going to give you something to confirm the religion that you've been sold your whole life. It's going to give you everything to confirm the lie, because it's there as part of their agenda to help push and promote the lie. That's what I said. Was I fair? Was I not fair with Mr. Tummy? He was the one talking about the military gun and the ships and the firing of the guns on the ships, and how it includes the calculations, I guess, account for curvature of the earth or whatever. Mind you, water don't curve. When have you ever seen water curve other than on the globe? Never. And by curve, I mean a large body of water having a curved surface, a continuous, consistently curved surface. It doesn't. Water finds its own level because that's what water is meant to do. That's why we have the tool called a level. So anything having to do with the oceans and the oceans are perfectly flat. Even with the waves and the rough seas and the high tides and the low tides, the water is flat. It does not curve and wrap around the ball. It doesn't. It can't. It's impossible. And if you think gravity makes that happen, then why doesn't gravity stop a hummingbird from flying? Why doesn't gravity stop a helium balloon from going up in the air? Hey, Tricky Ricky, it's not DSC, it's DSE. It's DSE. But again, this is, I mean, look at the graphics. Look at this, the cartoon shit, the laughing faces. Hi, this is some kid shit. And what's sad is they do that with the cartoon graphics because they not only want to appeal to the minds of the childlike adults, but even worse, they want to sell it to the children, just like they sold it to us when we were children. Remember doing the science projects, and you'd make the little model of the solar system and all that shit, and this is what you would come up with? I mean, look at this. It's stupidity. It is absolute stupidity. Mind you, none of the planets that they show in this model, in this graphic, in this cartoon, look that way when you look at them through a telescope. The only one that looks that way when you look at it through a telescope is our moon. And that's because they can't lie about what the moon looks like, because everybody on Earth can see it at night, or most nights. So they can't lie about that. But all these other planets, Iron FE says, great show, nodding out. Bye. Yeah, I'm kind of yawning too. But yeah, you guys are doing great with the likes too. We got 86 likes, 79 watching. That's what's up. But again, you see how they act, you see how they behave when you start hitting them with facts and challenging their religion, because this is a religion, is what this is. This is a religion given to you by satanic pedophiles and the people on YouTube being paid handsomely to promote it and getting millions of views and heavily monetized to promote it. They're the satanic cult that's pushing this idea. And whether they're Satanists, they're actual active Satanists or not, they work for the same Satanists that created this model, this false model. And it's funny because YouTube has a misinformation policy where they can flag you for harmful misinformation. Well, what's more harmful than implanting the idea in the minds of people that we live in a world that's that's completely fabricated. What's more harmful than telling people we live on a spinning ball with all these forces acting upon it that are imaginary and can't be quantified, and resources are limited? So now there's world wars and people fighting over resources. We can't travel anywhere, so everybody's stuck here. We're on this spinning ball in outer space, so we're nothing but small, insignificant beings that mean nothing to the, to the whole creation as a whole, and everything is greater than us. Like, what's more psychologically harmful than that? What's more harmful than lying to people? What's more harmful than lying to people and making them believe in a false world that's not created by our creator, but created by wicked men with a wicked agenda? Why is that harmful? It's harmful because they're moving people away from having an actual connection to their creator. And while they're worshiping their creator, they're actually worshiping these men. Because if you're praying for the world, and the idea that you have of the world is the world that the elites gave you, the globe, then you're actually praying to the elites. Really, they're the creator because they created this shit. So we replace God with men. Cryptoid says we can travel anywhere. Well, Cryptoid, we can't travel to Antarctica freely. We can travel to Antarctica, but it costs about $2 million to get permission from several different countries to go. And when you do go, you can't travel anywhere in Antarctica. You have to go. You can only go where they allow you to go. So Antarctica is very tightly controlled. There's actually a 20-minute video on YouTube called Antarctica, Sorry We're Closed. You should probably go watch that before you start making definitive statements like we can travel anywhere, because we can't. But they'll make you believe we can travel anywhere. So, people who believe in the globe can argue against the flat earthers and say exactly what you said, which is patently false. So again, they're feeding you lies and getting you to sell the lie, because the lies are what's necessary to support the little lies, are what's necessary to support the big lie, the globe lie. So it's just lie on top of lie on top of lie. The first lie is the Earth's atmosphere moves with the Earth. The next lie is everything's held together by gravity. The next lie is you can go anywhere on Earth and see it for yourself. The next lie is flight pass proves the globe. No, they don't. All those are all lies. Right, Tori Povich. And Tori Povich me and Tori Povich don't agree with each other on a lot, especially when it comes to Trump and the politics. When it comes to flat Earth, we're on the same page, and he's absolutely right about that statement. We can travel anywhere. So what are these passports for? Cryptoid says that was my thought. And again, I appreciate you sharing your opinion. I have no problem with that. You weren't disrespectful about it. You know what I'm saying? It's a fair debate. It's an open debate. You can say what you want. And Cryptoid says, what ice ring? Oh, he's responding to Pimp of the Sea. We can't travel beyond the ice ring. Well, Cryptoid, the ice ring that Pimp of the Sea is referring to, I'll show you what I can show you of it here, but this is not exactly the way flat earthers view it. But on this Professor Dave thumbnail, this is actually the azimuthal equidistant map. So you take that sun ball that he's got there out of the way, and that white circle around the 7 continents is the ice ring. That would be Antarctica. And yes, Cryptoid, we've all seen the ice ring. You want to see the ice ring? Now, here's where Google comes in handy and is actually quite useful. Just Google Antarctica coastline, and there's the ice ring. You're looking at it. The Antarctic coastline is the ice ring. It's the edge of the ice ring that faces us. What's on the other side of that ice ring? We don't know. We don't know. And the reason why we don't know is because we've been made to believe that we live on this ball where the actual ice ring is nothing more than a patch of ice at the bottom of the ball. We've all seen the ice ring if you've seen a picture of the Antarctic coastline, Cryptoid. We've all seen it. Now, as far as physically going there, I'm pretty sure no one in the chat here has gone to Antarctica because not many of us have $2 million to spend just to ask permission to go somewhere. And I'm pretty sure if we did have $2 million to spend to ask permission to go to the ice ring, well, we could probably think of a million better things to spend that $2 million on. But we've all seen the ice ring. Cryptoid, have you ever seen pictures of the Antarctic coastline? Yes, I said Google is good for that. You can use Google for that, but they're not. Google is not going to tell you that's the ice ring that you're looking at, but you will be able to find pictures of the Antarctic coastline on Google or DuckDuckGo or any search engine on the internet. They're not going to scrub all the pictures of Antarctica's coastline off of Google to hide flat Earth. But what they're going to do is they're going to tell you that's the Antarctic coastline and sell it to you as if it's just the coastline of the continent at the bottom of the globe. Okay, Cryptoid, now you're being ridiculous. Everybody, I want you guys to stop and look at what Cryptoid just did. Stop and look at what Cryptoid just did and think about what I just said in reference to the Antarctic coastline. This is a really good exercise in critical thinking here, guys. And this is also a good example of that childlike mindset. Cryptoid was asking if anybody went to Antarctica or anybody seen Antarctica. I said you can Google an image, and I also made sure to caveat said this is actually one of the things that Google is good for. You can Google an image of the Antarctic coastline. When it comes to Googling actual flat Earth information, you can't do it because it's censored. But you can Google pictures that people have taken and posted on the internet on Google. You can do that. It's still useful in some aspects, but when it comes to researching flat Earth specifically to learn about flat Earth, it's no good. Do you understand, Cryptoid? Or does your childlike mind not able to comprehend it? He laughs and said, dude, come on, you just used Google. Okay. I just used Google because it was useful in that instant, in that aspect. But when it comes to flat Earth specifically, it cannot be used. It cannot be trusted. He said, I've seen pictures of Earth from space too, man. Point is, no flat earther has seen the ice ring. Every person on Earth that's seen a picture of the Antarctic coastline has seen the ice ring. Okay, Cryptoid. And the pictures of Earth from space, I don't know why it's so hard to understand it, but every picture of Earth from space, it's a fucking cartoon, dude. It is a cartoon. I have an entire slide, and I should have, if I knew you were going to come in here and ask that question, I would have put that slide in my slideshow. But I have a slide that has, I think it's 8 images of Earth, the entire Earth that NASA has produced, right, Cryptoid? And if you look at each one of those images, all of the continents are different sizes each year the images were put out because they're all fake, Cryptoid. Okay, I don't even know what you mean by that. Okay, if it proves the globe, you can't use Google. No, it doesn't prove the globe because there is no proof for the globe because the globe isn't real. There's no proof of the globe. Every proof that you claim is proof of the globe is not real. It's fabricated. It's a lie. The pictures are a lie. The information. I just went through an article and showed you the contradictions in the article where they contradict themselves. And then he says classic. So now you see, guys, you see how every argument he tried to make, I was actually able to properly explain myself to a degree where he should be able to understand it. Yet he chooses to laugh and say classic, and now he's getting disrespectful. You see how they do? You see how they are? You see how they act? I hope everybody's paying attention to this. This is why I don't block them immediately. I let them show their ass first. Because I specifically recalled saying that when it comes to flat Earth, you cannot trust Google when it comes to flat Earth. You can't use Google. I didn't say you can't use Google at all. Google's no good, period. That's not what I said. But Cryptoid actually tried to frame his argument as if I said it. Remember on the last Flat Earth stream where I tell you when they can't win the debate, what do? They start making up straw man arguments, pretending that you said shit that you didn't say in order to make their point. That's exactly what Cryptoid just did. And he just proved my point. It's like they can't help themselves. Loaf 8 says, can we see ice wall with telescope or camera? Loaf 8, we cannot see the ice wall with a telescope or a camera from where we are. We have to get within a certain distance of it because our eyes cannot see infinitely. And even with a telescope or a camera, the air in the atmosphere is not 100% pure or see-through. That's why when you look at things far off in the distance, they tend to have this blue haze over them. That's all the atmospheric, what's the word they call it? Atmospheric interference that's obstructing your vision. So when you try to see for very far distances like that across the surface of the earth, you will encounter that atmospheric interference, which will obscure your vision. So you can't see forever. But if you go down to like the tip of South America, like down to the southernmost point of Chile, and set up your telescope, if it's a high-powered enough telescope, you should be able to see some outline of the Antarctic coastline. But from here in the United States, you can't see it. Just because the earth is flat doesn't mean you should be able to see forever. That's a silly argument that was debunked 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. LTO, I don't think Cryptoid has any interest in actually trying to understand what it is that I'm saying. He's just here to try to make a fool of me, but instead he ended up making a fool of himself. Because he proved every point that I was making about how these globe earthers behave. Now, Loaf 8 has a legitimate question. And Loaf 8, did I disrespect you? Was I disrespectful in my answer in any way? Did I give you a fair answer? Does my answer make sense? Did I come off as condescending? If I did, I apologize. I didn't. I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to answer your question. Now, over on Rumble, Milkus Dogus says, what do you think about the sun? Well, what I think about the sun is the sun and the moon are the same size because that's the way they appear in the sky. They both circle above us, above the flat plane, and the sun spirals towards the North Pole, which is the center, in the summer months, and in the winter months, it spirals back out. I mean, in the northern part of the world, it spirals back out towards the outer edge where we start getting cold winters, and down south, the southern quote unquote hemisphere, they have their winters. I mean, they have their summers. We have winter in the north, they have their summer in the south. On the flat earth map, let me pull up the and I hate showing this Professor Dave guy. So I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in on the flat earth map. On the flat earth map, this is how the directions work. The center here is north. This is north. So traveling from the circumference towards the center would be traveling north. That's why from all these continents, you're traveling north when you go towards the center. When you go out from the center, out is south. Out is south towards the circumference. And that's how they were able to sell you the idea of the globe, because anywhere, any point on these 7 continents, if you travel south, you're going to hit the ice ring. Or if you travel in a straight line and you start out going west, but you start going in a straight line, you'll actually start, your compass will actually start pointing, showing that you're going south. So you have to turn to go east and turn to go west. So traveling west would be clockwise. Traveling east would be counterclockwise. That's how the cardinal directions actually work. Yeah, Tori Povich. I believe it. He says, don't worry about Cryptoid. He's one of those guys who knows Earth flat, but here to disrupt Cryptoid. But here to disrupt. Yeah, yeah. And see, Loaf 8, I think Loaf 8 is actually somebody that can have a conversation. Or maybe Loaf 8 was coming in here with the intention of getting disrespectful and saw how I tore those other assholes to shreds and was like, you know what? Let me just ask this man a question and behave myself. I don't know, but Loaf, I appreciate you being respectful. This is the way these conversations are supposed to go. You ask me a question, I give you an answer if I can answer it. If I can't answer it, then I can't answer it. Like, what's underneath the flat earth? I can't answer that because everything we've been told that's underneath our feet has been a lie. So we don't know. He says, good answer. Can we use a telescope to debunk the globe? Yes, we absolutely can use a telescope to debunk the globe, Loaf 8, and here's how. You look up the curvature math for the globe Earth, and the curvature math goes as such. The Earth curves downwards from where you're standing at, 8 inches per mile squared. So if you're standing at a fixed point, you go 1 mile in front of you, the Earth would have actually curved 8 inches downward. You go 1 mile behind you, 8 inches downward. 1 mile to your left, 1 mile to your right on each side, 8 inches downward. And that's the way the Earth curves, 8 inches per mile squared, right? So based on that curvature math, certain objects that are at a certain distance, you should not be able to see because they should be on the other side of the curve where at least the bottom part of that object is obscured. This is where the argument for globe earthers, this is where globe earthers get that argument about ships disappearing on the horizon or going over the curve of the Earth. That's where that argument comes from, that 8 inches per mile squared curvature, right? But if you take a telescope or a zoom camera, a zoom lens, you can actually see objects from the bottom all the way to the top in its entirety at distances that exceed that 8 inches per mile squared curvature, which means that there is no curvature, or if there is curvature, it's definitely not 8 inches per mile squared, because that object, that mountain or that building or whatever it is that you're looking at, so many miles away should be behind so many feet of curvature, but it's not. You can see it in its entirety. So you can actually use a telescope to debunk the globe. Long distance photography is an example. And New Jersey Shore Greek gave a good example. He says you can see Chicago from New York with a telescope. And based on the curvature math, that shouldn't be possible because Chicago should be behind the curve. You shouldn't be able to see it. So, guys, we're at 76%. We got another 24% to hit that 100. Please hit the Cash App. Milkus Dogus says, thanks for the answer, but I was referring to the alleged sun simulator being used to block the sun or something. I keep seeing people talk about it on TikTok. I'm also a true earther. Oh, cool. I don't know much about the sun simulator. What I do know is China and a couple other countries were actually constructing artificial suns. And if you don't believe me about the sun being local, right? You if you look at NASA footage of rocket launches, because they actually really do launch rockets, it's just that the rockets don't go into space. They go up into the air. They make like a parabolic curve, and then they crash into the ocean. And then Navy ships go and pick up the pieces and the remains of it, and then they bring it back to NASA, and then they rebuild it again, and then they launch it all over again. And that's how they fake space launches. So people actually see rockets going up into the air, and they're made to believe that they're going to space when they most certainly are not. Sorry, we got a train that comes by here late at night. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's really loud. And it's about 1.5 miles from the house, too. But what I was saying is, if you look at the NASA rocket launches, there's a couple of videos where they did night launches, and the flare from the engines of the rocket was enough to actually turn night into day for several miles from the launch point. And just based on that alone, let me know that the sun could be local and it could provide that much light and that much heat. But as far as what the sun is and what the moon actually is, again, as flat earthers, we're willing to admit we don't know, and the best we can do is theorize. But what we do know, it's not exactly what they teach us it is. Like, think about this, right? They say the sun is a big burning ball of fire. But how is the sun a big burning ball of fire when it exists in a vacuum where there's no oxygen to support the fire, to feed the fire? Have you globe earthers never heard of that? Have you globe earthers never thought of that? LTO says with a telescope, you can go to the beach and look for a ship far away. You can have it vanish or appear with the zoom. Dean General says all rockets last week went into low Earth orbit. Now, with the ships disappearing over the horizon, I heard the argument that the ships do go over the curve because even if you zoom in on it with a zoom lens, it will reappear, but then eventually it'll vanish again. Well, that's because the zoom lenses can't see forever either. But if you take another camera, place it in front of the camera the original camera that you zoomed in on, and zoom in with that one and double your zoom capabilities, guess what? You'll see the ship again. So that proves that there is no curve, or at least the ships aren't going over the curve. There was also, if you check out my last Flat Earth stream here on YouTube, there's on the thumbnail, there's a guy walking on a football field. He placed the camera down on the ground on a flat football field and walked away from it. And as he was walking away from the camera, his body started to disappear from the feet up. Because it's just how our eyes work. It's the perspective. Yeah, low Earth orbit, not space. And also, you guys remember that Chinese spy balloon? It wasn't a spy balloon. It was a NASA satellite balloon that lost altitude. That's all it was. But this globe shit, man, these cartoon believers, you know, there's pictures. You know, it's funny. When I first learned about the flat Earth and that the globe was a lie, it was a buddy of mine. He was actually an Army veteran. And he says, thank you, Milkus. And he says to me, Earth is flat. And my immediate reaction was exactly what Cryptoid said. I was like, no way, man. There's pictures. How is it flat when there's pictures of the globe? And he didn't say anything. He just kind of shook his head like, no. I was like, what do you mean? He said, the pictures are all fake. And I went and I started looking it up. And that was back in 2017, right before YouTube started censoring the flat earth and pushing all the anti-flat earth and globe videos. And I came across Eric Dubé's video. I came across Jeranism. I came across Bro Sanchez. And they were actually showing how the pictures were fake. And I think it was Jeranism who actually had the clip from a guy by the name of Robert Simmons, who worked for NASA, and he was in charge of basically producing the pictures. And he said the picture of Earth is photoshopped, but it had to be, is what he said. Of course it had to be photoshopped because the Earth doesn't look like that. It's not a globe and there is no space. And the satellites are all fake. So if you think there's pictures of Earth, then that means you have to believe that there's satellites up there when we've proven that there are no satellites up there. They're all cartoons. Again, cartoons. They're tunes, baby. Rumham says, May 2nd, DARP Napa started up. MSM said it was turned off. The 18th into early 19th, 40 days and 40 nights after eclipse. After ellipse or eclipse. Right, New Jersey Shore Greek. No one can replicate a working model of spinning Earth with water. No, they can't. But they'll sit here and they'll make fun of me and they'll try to troll me and make me try to make me look dumb, like Cryptoid tried to do, but he only made himself look dumb by creating a straw man and then trying to argue as if I said it. You know, like, man, but they can't produce a model. Yet we can take a plate, put some rocks in it, pour some water on it, and there's your flat Earth, you know, very easily. Mind you, every globe that's produced and sold, I don't know if they do it if they still do it, but they have a sticker at the bottom of them that say not for educational purposes, for decorative purposes only, because it's not real. It's not a real representation of what our Earth looks like. It's not the true Earth. It's not the true Earth. And what I want you guys to do, you globers that believe that there's satellites out there and space is real, I want you to start small. If you're still listening, just let's forget about all the disrespect and the back and forth, right? Because mind you, I'm better at it than you, so don't even try it. But go and look up NASA satellite balloons. That you can find on Google too. And they will show you that they use helium balloons to launch communication devices into low Earth orbit. And then go look up the Chinese spy balloon and take a good look at the NASA satellite balloons that they launch, because they actually show you real pictures of those. And go look at the Chinese spy balloon and compare the two and make up your own mind. Yeah, New Jersey Shore Greek. Greenland is not big like shown on the globe Earth. Looks like the size of Africa on the globe. Right. And the globers like to tell us, oh, there's no accurate flat Earth maps. There's no flat Earth maps. Mind you, every map is flat. Every single map is flat. Every single map that you use every day is flat. But there's no flat maps. And when they say there's no accurate flat Earth maps, I mean, they say that as if the globe is accurate, but it's not. It's the most inaccurate. Dean General says, where do we really live? Question everything. Right. But some people don't want to question it, and they get mad at people who question it. They're like the people in the church that would burn you at the stake back in the day. for questioning the pastor. That's who they are. That's the spirit they carry. The spirit of compliance, the spirit of go along to get along, the spirit of don't question my religion, don't question my priests. That's the spirit. They have a slave-minded, it's like a slave spirit. Don't you dare question Massa, we gonna get in trouble. We're gonna be in a whole heap of trouble. That's their mentality. And they don't even realize it. They think they're free. And they can't even think freely. Exactly, Tori Povich. You're right. Tori Povich is right. Start by Googling real pictures of satellites in space, and all you're going to get is cartoons and CGI. And they don't even stop to realize this because they look at these pictures. They don't even stop to think, well, who's taking the pictures of the satellites in space if the satellites are real? And again, for you globe earthers out there, or for you indoctrinated souls out there who want to break out of the indoctrination and not fall for these lies, these reinforcements of the lies, these psyops, this propaganda, for those of you who actually want to learn about the true earth and figure out where we really are and study the creator's beautiful, wonderful creation, go check out my other Flat Earth streams over on Rumble. I got a bunch of stuff. For example, I have a slide that shows the globe in 1927 that Universal Pictures put out in 1927 before they even went to space to get pictures of the globe. So how did they get that? Where did that come from? Milkus Dogus on Rumble says, do you think Putin will break the Antarctic Treaty or something, especially with NATO pushing their buttons? Well, Milkus Dogus, I'm glad you asked that question because I was actually going to do that, talk about that on the next Flat Earth Wednesday, but I guess I can give you guys a little sneak preview now. I believe at some point the alliance governments of the world will expose the globe lie and flat earth. But the problem is, as you can see by the trolls that came in here showing their asses, that is the mentality of the majority of people across the earth. And these politicians who have free and fair elections in their country, they need the support of these people in order to maintain those seats of power so they don't fall into the hands of New World Order puppets. So they can't come out and say flat earth is flat, because the media is going to demonize them, call them crazy, and get the people to turn against them, and they'll lose the support of the people, thus causing them to lose their position of power in the government, which will open the door for the infiltrators to seize and maintain that seat of power. So I don't think we're going to hear about it anytime soon, but what's going to happen is we as parents are going to start teaching flat earth to our children. Our children are going to go to school and share it with their friends. And then it's going to become a thing among the next generation. And within a generation or two, that's when the world as a whole will be willing to accept the fact that we've been lied to for centuries, and it's time to break free. And we're willing and able to break free because we don't have to buy into this propaganda anymore. But there's too many indoctrinated people running around in this generation for it to happen in this generation. And the reason why I get so upset with these disrespectful globe earthers that come in here attempting to make me look stupid and make themselves look stupid, the reason why I get so upset with them is because they don't even realize that instead of researching this on their own and sitting here debating with me, By sitting here debating with me, they're actually advocating for the enemies of humanity that have been lying to us our whole lives. They're working for the enemy. And they're so dedicated to selling the enemy's propaganda that they'll come in here and call me the enemy. How the fuck am I the enemy? If I'm the enemy, why are you watching me? I don't know you. And this is why they poison the food, they poison the air, they poison the water to dumb us down. This is why, because if we're dumbed down enough that we can't think for ourselves, they can make us believe anything, and they'll make us believe it so deeply that we'll actually combat on their behalf the people who believe, who know the truth and are trying to share the truth with us, and they will assist in shutting down the truth. I mean, who do you think pushes the censorship buttons at Google, at YouTube to suppress the flat earth information? Who do you think programmed the algorithms in the Google search engine to suppress the flat earth information? It's other people who actually believe in the globe, people like Cryptoid and the rest of those disrespectful assholes. The only glober in here that came in and actually asked a legitimate question and was able to accept the answer without being combative was Loaf 8. And I have great respect for Loaf 8 for that. But Cryptoid, I would never have a debate with Cryptoid because I can't have a civil debate with Cryptoid. Cryptoid tried to straw man me with the whole Google thing. And all I said was, Google is good in this aspect. Search up the Antarctic coastline and go look at pictures of the Antarctic coastline. That's the ice ring. That's the ice wall. But Google is not going to tell you that's the Antarctic ice ring that surrounds the flat earth. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you this is the Antarctic coastline that belongs to the continent at the bottom of the globe. Yeah, Mr. Tummy was cool too. Mr. Tummy was cool too. And he probably didn't like me very much. And he probably didn't like my answer very much. But you know what he didn't do? He didn't start acting like an asshole because he didn't like my answer. Like Cryptoid and DSE and DM1. And it's very frustrating trying to have conversations with people who act like that. Because it's like you're answering their questions. You're sharing information with them. You're giving them information. You're being as clear and articulate as possible. And they sit there and act like they don't understand. And Dat Ross says, hit the like button, stop being petty. And hit the Cash App and stop playing broke. How about that one? How about that one? We're $24 away from hitting the $100 goal, y'all. 24. And we got 76 on YouTube, 58 on Rumble. Guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up on Rumble. And YouTube is doing pretty good with the thumbs ups because we got 99 likes already. And the show's not even over yet. We're getting down to the end, but it's not over yet. And look, whether you're a flat earther or a globe earther, the political stuff that I talk about and the New World Order stuff that I talk about, that affects all of us. Whether you believe we live on a spinning ball or a flat plane that's limited or a flat plane that's infinite, it doesn't really matter when it comes to the geopolitical situation, the economic situation, the political situation that we're dealing with. It doesn't really make a difference. So that's one topic that we can actually discuss and everybody can be a part of, we can have a healthy discussion about. But the flat earth, globe earth, it gets very nasty sometimes when you're dealing with these globers because again, you're challenging their religion. And what's crazy, you ever heard the saying, none are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free? That's the globers. Their minds are hopelessly trapped in this. Their minds are hopelessly trapped in this idea that we live on a spinning ball floating in outer space, that any other idea that challenges that, they will fight you to the death on it. They will try to disrespect you to the point where they disrespect themselves just to sell it. LTO dropped the 5 on the Cash App, says, I take my own $5 challenge. Support True Earth. So LTO took the $5 challenge, and we are now 19% away. So if we could get 3 more $5 challenges or 4 more $5 challenges, that'll get us home, y'all. So hit that Cash App. Right, LTO. Morpheus said it. It's a prison for your mind. And speaking of that, InfoWars. Alex Jones, one of Alex Jones' reporters, Harrison, actually had a debate with Witsit Gets It about Flat Earth. And Harrison, was defending the globe. But he wasn't disrespectful. He didn't agree with what Witsit Gets It was saying, but he was allowing Witsit to share his information. And I thought that was pretty gentlemanly of him. But it was still disappointing at the same time, because InfoWars is supposed to be about the truth and nothing but the truth. But there they were defending the lie. And that's how powerful of a lie the globe is. Even your truthers in the truther community would defend it. LTO says, when he had the show with Eddie Bravo, I was disappointed. Yeah, Alex Jones has been letting me down, man. He's been letting me down. I stopped listening to Alex Jones once he started walking back the Sandy Hook thing. I mean, I understand why he did it, but when your entire empire is being threatened, when your livelihood is being threatened for you telling the truth, and you walk back the truth in order to preserve your money and preserve your empire, that is the definition of selling out. Because you're supposed to be willing to make that sacrifice and sacrifice that lifestyle in the name of the truth, because that's how much the truth should mean to you if you're really about the truth. Why do you think I'm on my 16th YouTube channel? Why do you think I've had 15 channels taken down over the last 3 years and have still been coming back, doing more streams and putting out more content? They've taken my livelihood from me. There was a time when I was making $2,000 a week streaming. Can you believe that? I went from $2,000 a week to barely $200-300 a week. Some weeks I only make like $50 to $80 streaming, from $2,000 a week. But guess what? I haven't stopped. I stood on business. That's why I kept losing my channels, because I stood on business. Because that's how much the truth means to me. And they make it painful to be on the side of truth. They make sure that shit hurts, because they want to make it as difficult for truth tellers as possible, that they decide that, you know what, I'm no longer going to go down this road. I'm going to join the establishment and sell the lie so I can maintain my lifestyle. That's the game that they play. That's why all the Globe Earth videos got millions of views, and the Flat Earth videos barely get a few hundred to a few thousand if they're lucky. LTO says, I remember the 1300 show. In a year, you had like 15 channels. Yeah. I had like, at one time, I think I had like 3 or 4 channels going at the same time, because they kept suspending me. Then I would go to the next channel, and then they'll take that channel down. Then I go to the next channel, then they'll take that channel down. It was insane. Insane. I remember one time they took my channel, all my channels down. I started up a new channel, And within like, I want to say like a week, I had about 450 subscribers back, and they zapped that channel. I remember that. It was within the same month I had lost 2 channels. There was one show that I did. I made $2,000 in that whole show. I think it was like 2,100 total, the whole show. But you see, at that point, the truth was becoming profitable, and other people were starting to pick up on the content that I was putting out. That's when I was sharing the information about the fake inauguration, the fake presidency, Biden replacement, the politicians being replaced, the celebrities being replaced, and all that. And people were really taking an interest in it, and the word was getting out. I was getting about 500, 600, 700 people a show. And that was around the time when that was back when Bro Sanchez, I think he had about 40 or 50,000 subscribers or so, and he was hitting about the same numbers of viewers per show, about 700, 800 a show. So we were like neck and neck with the live viewer number. So I was on the come up. But because the truth was becoming too popular and it was becoming profitable, so other people were being incentivized to share it, they had to cut that shit off. So what they did was they started making up lies and taking my videos down. One video in particular, I was advocating against violence, and that was around the time when people were talking about civil war, civil war, civil war. And in my stream, I was telling people that we don't want to do that because it's going to destroy the country, and we don't want to destroy the country, but our enemies want to destroy the country. So they would rather have a civil war. If they can't control the country politically, they would rather us engage in a civil conflict and destroy the country ourselves, because then their mission would be complete in destroying America. And YouTube said I was glorifying violence and took my video down. And that was the 3rd strike on my channel, and they took the whole channel. And then later on, I found out about this group called Defeat Disinfo. You should go look those guys up. Defeat Disinfo is a liberal leftist organization whose job is to go around to YouTube truther channels and flag them down. That was their job. On their website, it said they will flag channels and report channels that are spreading misinformation, because apparently the truth is now misinformation. And they created an organization, and they said they're going to suppress and report channels spreading conspiracy theories like flat earth and so on. And they were going to promote more authoritative sources, is what they said. And by authoritative sources, they mean channels that are pushing the narrative. So when you look at real flat earth channels that don't get many views, those are the fringe conspiracy theorist channels that get suppressed. And then you look at clowns like this with 1.5 million views, 14,000 views in one day, 366,000 views in 10 days. This one got 3.4 million views in 10 months. Professor Pedophile Dave got 624,000 views in 2 weeks. And you start to realize these are your authoritative sources right here. The ones spreading the lies, the ones actually spreading the disinformation. Millions of views. And you ever stop to wonder if the earth is really a ball and everybody knows it, and us flat earthers are just a bunch of fringe conspiracy theorists? Why are their YouTube channels getting millions of views to reteach the globe? Because they're not getting those views legitimately. They're getting those views because their numbers are being inflated to make them look popular so they can attract more people. And with their inflated numbers, their videos would be at the top of the algorithm, and the videos with the lower numbers won't. Dean General says, registered Republican, don't judge me. Hey, Dean General, if you're black, you're with the right party historically, because the Republican Party was the anti-slavery party, anti-segregation, pro-civil rights. So you're on the right side of the political aisle when it comes to that. The only thing that sucks about it nowadays is the modern day Republican Party it's been infiltrated and corrupted. But there's still good people in the Republican Party as opposed to the Democratic Party. There's no good people left in the Democratic Party because there's no room for good people in the Democratic Party. Only yes men that are going to go along with the bullshit. But I sure am glad we got these trolls out of here, though. I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that because they really do distract and disrupt. And, well, in most cases, they're not even here to make a case or make an argument. That's exactly what they're here for, just to disrupt. Just to disrupt. All right, so where are we? Where are we? 56 and 25. That's 81. All right, yeah, so we're 19% away from hitting 100. We're so close to the goal, y'all. We're so close to the goal. Don't leave me hanging like that. We only need 19 more bucks, and we got 84 watching on YouTube and 58 on Rumble. And we are coming up on the 3-hour mark, so I got to get ready to close this show out. Got to get ready to close this out because it's getting late, and I got to go. So, anyway, make sure you guys subscribe to the Citizen Man Backup channel because I'm pretty sure now that I've blocked a couple trolls, I'm probably going to get another video flagged because that's usually what they do. They come in your chat, they disrespect you, and when you kick them out, they go flag your channel down because they can't have they're children. They're children. So make sure you guys subscribe to the Citizen Man Backup channel, and if this channel disappears, all the content that was on this channel, you'll find it on my Rumble page. So make sure you get over to Rumble and you follow me on Rumble. Sign up for a Rumble account. It's fast, it's free, and you can comment on the videos just like you can on YouTube. You can hit the thumbs up, you can share the videos and make your own content. And all the other stuff, all the other content that I couldn't keep up on YouTube, you'll find it over on Rumble. Thank God for Rumble because they don't censor and there ain't that many trolls. So make sure you guys follow me on the Rumble page. Sign up for Self Credit Builder to help build your credit up so you can actually start making some financial moves, start that business, make that investment. Don't ever borrow money to just spend it. You borrow money to invest. All right. The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, get back to nature and natural healing because the enemy wants you to use their chemical medicine, and their chemical medicine was used to replace herbal medicine, which was the actual medical treatments that were being used before the Rockefellers bought out all the hospitals or built all the hospitals and bought out all the medical schools in the 1920s. And I actually did a whole show about that too. So in order to circumvent the chemical medicine plantation, get yourself a copy of the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, and hopefully you'll never, ever have to need the services of the mass murder kill grid we call the hospital system. Metabolic cooking. Now, granted, the hospital system, it's like Google. It's not good to treat chronic illnesses through that system. But if you break a leg, you get shot, stabbed, or something like that, or wounded or something like that, they're extremely useful. It's like Google. When it comes to certain things, you can't trust the search results. But when it comes to other things that seem more benign, you can, like searching the Antarctic coastline. And I still don't understand why Cryptoid didn't understand that, but I'm pretty sure he did understand that. He just wanted to be combative because, well, he's a child. He's a petulant toddler. So get yourself a copy of the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, add it to your library, and support yourself and support the show that way. Metabolic Cooking for the weight loss recipes and Anabolic Cooking for the muscle building recipes. Add all 3 books to your library and become a powerhouse of health, as we all should be. And of course, last but not least, if you'd like to donate to the show, we are 19% away from our goal. So if you feel, since we're at the end of the show and you guys have absorbed all the content, hopefully you guys saw it fit, saw me worthy of your donations because we are viewer and listener supported. We are not monetized over here on YouTube. That was actually the first strike they took at me, which was taking away my monetization back in 2020. Haven't been monetized ever since on YouTube. But if you guys would like to donate to the show, you could do so via Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. The red X is through the PayPal because they had froze my account a while back, but I got it back now, and I still don't trust them, so I don't advise using PayPal. But if that's all you have, you can. The links are posted to the top of the description box to the top of the chat box in YouTube. In the black box where it says Citizen Man TV in yellow, just click the yellow and all the links drop down. The links you can also find in the description box of every video where it says support the channel, or you could simply just punch in the tags you see scrolling across the screen in the banner below. So I appreciate you guys supporting the show. Let me go ahead and shout out our donations so we can start closing it out. Shout out to Dean General with the 25 on the PayPal. Appreciate that, Dean General. Shout out to Humbled Up, Katrina, and where's the rest of my Cash Apps? I only see. Let me see. I'll refresh it. And my brother Lee 14224 with the faithful 5. Here we go. Shout out to LTO twice. He did $1 in the $5 challenge. Shout out to William. Big shout out to my brother William, man, with the 2. Shout out to LTO with the $1. Shout out to Robin Stand for Something with the 2-piece. And shout out to LTO taking this $5 challenge. I guess nobody else is going to take the $5 challenge, huh? Y'all going to send me home with $81, really? When we're only $19 short? That's 19 people put $1 on the Cash App. 4 people put $5 on the Cash App. 5 people put $4 on the Cash App. 2 people put 10 each on the Cash App. Hell, 1 person put 20 on the Cash App. Hell, 1 person put 19 on the Cash App. We can make it. We could do it. Disco, what are you talking about? Disco says, okay, what question mark? What are you talking about, Disco? What are you referring to? Is there a question you need answered, my friend? If there is, I'll be happy to answer it for you. So fire away, if you will. I hang out for a little while longer. We're 3 hours and 5 minutes in. I guess I can give it another 10 minutes. So if you guys got any questions, I can probably take some questions. LTO says, who knows what kind of food will it be next? A donut or a pear? Well, as far as I know, it's a pancake. As far as I know. But if flat Earth is true, why do so many still believe in the globe? Well, and thank you to the trolls that showed up tonight, because you definitely showed how how poisonous for your mind this globe belief is. But also you've proved to us how so many people still believe in the globe. They believe in the globe because they're being force-fed the propaganda. They're being force-fed the propaganda because they don't fully understand how they rig the search results and how they censor flat Earth. They think censorship is just wiping you off the airways completely. But no, that's not the only form of censorship. There's other forms of censorship, like suppressing your views, suppressing your search results when people try to search you, suppressing you in the search results when people try to search you up, having, shill channels with similar titles, bigger, with much bigger numbers, to kind of like overshadow the little guys, all those types of sneaky tactics. Because the thing about it is, if they were actually removing flat Earth videos from YouTube and taking down flat Earth channels, it would bring too much attention to the flat Earth topic. You see? I mean, with the Trump stuff and the Patriots and the conservatives, they can do that with them and take their whole channels down, because enough minds have already been poisoned against, you know, the conservative movement, the pro-Trump movement, the pro-America movement. And there's so many channels like that that nobody really bats an eye when a conservative channel goes down. But if flat earth channels start going down, it's going to make the normies, take a second look. Because to be honest with you, that's how come Trump ended up getting so much support. Once they started censoring Trump supporters, people started looking into Trump like, damn, we never seen a president get censored. Like, they took down his whole Twitter account. Like, what the fuck did he do to them? Kind of like this dude now. You know, so they've moved away from just taking down the whole channel, the whole flat earth channel, because they don't want people to look into it, because it'll give us too much legitimacy if they did. So all they do is they leave the content up. They let you keep your content up. So you can't say that they censored you, but they shadow ban you, which is a form of censorship in itself. And I don't understand how Cryptoid didn't realize that shadow banning is another form of censorship, because that's exactly what it is. Because the whole point of censorship is to keep people, is to basically put up a firewall between the information that you're putting out and the people who would possibly receive it. That's all it is. Censorship is designed to keep people away from certain information. So if, in order to keep people away from the flat earth information, if all they have to do is suppress the videos and not completely remove them, well, that's what they'll do. And I've even heard globe earthers try to make excuses for YouTube censoring flat earth, as if this is something normal, as if this is something that's okay, as if this is acceptable. Like Craig, Fight the Flat Earth. And shout out to Fight the Flat Earth. He actually is one of the most respectful globe earthers I've listened to in a while, when he debated Brother Sanchez. And Sanchez asked him, he said, well, if flat earth is a lie, why are they censoring it? And he said, well, they're not censoring it. They're promoting videos that get more views, which happen to be globe earth videos or something like that, he said, which was ridiculous, because how can you make excuses for censorship and claim you believe in free speech at the same time? And I'm a conservative and I support the Republican Party in politics more than I support the Democratic Party, even though I know the Republican Party they're not anywhere near as corrupt as the Democrats. I'll tell you that, but they're quickly getting there. Right. But hang on a second. But one thing that I have, one big gripe that I have with the conservatives and the Republican Party is when YouTube started the censorship. And I say this all the time, every time that I can, and it pisses me off. The conservatives, just like they're letting me down with the whole Israel thing, because so many of them are still supporting those genocidal maniacs because of their religion. When Flat Earth started getting censored, when YouTube started their censorship, and they started censoring flat earthers and targeting flat earthers, I didn't hear one conservative in Congress get up and say, hey, there's a group of people that we may not agree with, but they do have a right to free speech, and their free speech is being suppressed, and we need to do something. We need to put pressure on these social media platforms to stop this censorship. They didn't say a word. You know why they didn't say a word? Because too many of them thought like Cryptoid and DSE and Dicks R Us and the other assholes that came in here trying to troll me. Too many of them thought that way about flat earth. So they didn't care that flat earth was getting censored. But what YouTube did was they perfected their algorithms, their suppression and their censorship algorithms on the flat earthers, because no one cared. And once they perfected their algorithm, then they began censoring Republicans, conservatives, Trump supporters, Christians. And that's when the Republican Party decided to say something, when it was too late. They sat back and they let the censorship happen. and they didn't care to say anything about it until it started happening to them. And that was a big fuck up on their part, because I blame them for how far this censorship has gotten. Because if they had stepped in the beginning, when these channels, when these platforms first started pitching the idea that this is what they were going to do, they wouldn't have been able to do it. But they didn't step up. They hung us out to dry because of their globe religion. And you see how dangerous holding on to those false beliefs in that satanic religion is. They literally forfeited their own right to free speech on the internet because of their hatred for flat earth and their love for the globe religion. That's what caused it. That's what caused it. Because if YouTube said they were going to censor dog videos, I guarantee you the conservatives would have said some shit about it. Or if YouTube would have said, we're going to censor the Christians, before they even mentioned the flat earthers, they would have said something about it. But because it was the flat earthers, they chose not to say anything. And they let it happen. So I don't blame a lot of flat earthers who are displeased with the Republican Party. I don't blame y'all at all. In fact, I agree with you. I stand with you on that, because I'm disgusted by it. The party that's supposed to be a free speech sat back and watched our free speech get stripped away and didn't say nothing until the stripping away of free speech started affecting them. I mean, could you be any more selfish? And it's funny because back before Alex Jones sold out, and we just hit 3 hours and 15 minutes, but let me just say this. Back before Alex Jones sold out to the establishment, he was warning us that these YouTube and these other big platforms were going to start engaging in what they call Chinese style censorship, where only certain messaging would be allowed to be broadcast and other messaging would be suppressed. And as they started suppressing the flat earthers, Alex Jones was actually one of the first channels to get completely removed from YouTube, because they weren't removing, when they started censoring the flat earth videos, they weren't exactly removing them. They were just replacing the first few pages of search results with the shill videos like the ones I shared with you guys tonight. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. I got to get ready to close it out. We're still 19% away from the goal. We didn't hit it tonight, or we haven't hit it yet, but hopefully maybe sometime after the show or sometime during the day tomorrow, somebody will catch this on the replay and, get us to that goal. But for right now, I do appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the love and the support. And shout out to the trolls too. Shout out to the trolls for coming through. That was mighty thoughtful of you guys, but unfortunately, your conversational skills and your social awkwardness cause you to get blocked because you don't know how to have an adult conversation. And I want to give especially a big shout out to the globe earthers that came in and actually asked respectful questions and were respectful about respectful in their interactions with me. That was very, very refreshing to see. So that's cool. And just so you Globers know, the majority of my followers, when I first started on YouTube, a lot of those people, they can't find me anymore since all the censorship. But for the people that were able to find me again, a lot of them were globe earthers when I started teaching flat earth. And it was because of my flat earth teachings got them to first go into globe skepticism, which is, I can't fully say earth is flat, but that globe shit is a little fishy and I don't trust it anymore. So they became globe skeptics, which I can work with. And many of them are now, you know what? Fuck it. Earth is flat. And it was the same thing with the people that, you know, disagreed with me on Trump. Like, as long as it wasn't just emotional hatred because of all the shit you've been hearing in the fake news media and in the alternative media, you know, the people who were just skeptical and didn't trust him and were questioning me about, you know, his possible motives and whatnot. A lot of those people are like, you know what? I fuck with Trump, man. I can fuck with Trump. Like he seems like a real one. You know, like that's the approach we got to take in when it comes to waking people up, because you can't just, you know, throw it in their faces like that and expect them to accept it all at once. You got to kind of give it to them in small doses. And I've always said, if you're a Trump hater, I can't have a conversation with you. But if you're a Trump skeptic, I can. Because a hater's already got his mind made up. A skeptic is still on the fence. A skeptic is still willing to look at the other side. A hater has completely written off the other side. And that's the difference. That's the difference between an open mind that just doesn't have all the information and a willfully ignorant mind that willfully turns a blind eye to the information. And I always compare the Trump haters to the Globers in this sense. There's a mountain of evidence supporting the flat earth and debunking the globe. It's completely undeniable proof. When it comes to Trump, there's a mountain of evidence with completely undeniable proof that Trump is working on behalf of the people. But the people who would rather hate Trump, they would rather ignore that mountain of evidence and hold on to their hatred because this is what they believe and it has become their religion. And that's a terrible mindset to have, because you're locking yourself into this box of belief, and every interpretation of the world now has to fit into that box of belief. Otherwise, it can't be true. And that's how you end up rejecting information, missing out on valuable information, losing out on opportunities, and so on and so forth. It is the literal definition of closed-mindedness. But shout out to you guys for being an open-minded and having an open mind and a mature enough mentality to be able to have these conversations, because it's difficult. It gets rough. Like it got pretty dicey in here for a minute dealing with those trolls. I ain't gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. It got dicey, but I think overall I handled myself pretty well. Perhaps there's some things I could have done better, but I'm only human and I'm doing the best I can. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Let me get my camera back on if I can. Come on, camera. Damn, I finished my water. I'm so thirsty. It's going to do the lag thing again. Dang it. All right, the chat just loaded. There we go. There we go. All right, so again, appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Don't forget, guys, we're 19% away from tonight's goal. So hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that Venmo, support the operation. Keep us funded, keep us going. And I'm going to keep the information flowing. So keep us funded, keep us going, and I'll keep the information and the knowledge flowing. Sounds good. And by the way, I'm wearing my Black Guns Matter t-shirt. If you guys are wondering what that was on my shirt, this was a design that I designed. It's 2 AR-15s pointing different directions, and it just says Black Guns Matter. So shout out to you guys for being here. By the way, as the channel grows, when we hit 3,000 subscribers, I'm going to reopen the t-shirt store. So be on the lookout for that. LTO says, bring the music back, your rap songs. You know what? I damn sure am going to do that, but can't do it tonight because I don't have anything queued up, but I'm definitely going to look into getting that done. So Pimp of the Sea says, I love it. I need one. Good. I already got one sale. So I'm definitely going to be opening that store. We got 2,300 subscribers right now. We need 700 more to get to the, let me see. Yeah, 2,300. So we need 700 more to get to that 3,000 subscriber number. Once we get to that 3,000 subscriber number, I'll definitely be opening up the store so you guys can grab your merchandise. And I'm going to have some political shirts. I'm going to have a lot of non-political shirts because I want to appeal to a more neutral audience so I can get more, more sales on a wider scale instead of just pigeonholing myself to the politics. So it's going to be some dope shit. But anyway, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys back here on Friday at 10:30 p.m. Remember, I'm live Sundays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Rumble. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, gotta go. See you on Friday. Citizen Man, out.